and the other one is temporary, also known as safari. Now back to the defense you read for the governor. Didn't she say these were impressed for per diems?
Yes.
Therefore, you would agree with me, the governor's explanation refers to temporary or safari impressed. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And in fact, we are told in paragraph 3 that these are meant for official journeys. Correct or incorrect from the regulation?
Where?
The same page you're looking at, regulation 93, subparagraph 3.
Says that temporary imprests shall be issued mainly in respect of official journeys and are intended to provide officers with funds with which they can meet traveling, accommodation, and incidental expenses.
Sir, is it possible for an officer to be on several safaris on the same day, so that they would have several imprests on the same day?
I don't think there is a place where we have gotten several imprests.
Just answer my question, sir. We'll get there. Is it possible for a human being to be on 5 safaris on the same day?
It depends.
It depends.
Yes.
That takes me to paragraph 4, subparagraph B. Can you read it for the Senate?
Still on regulation 93?
Of course, sir.
Before issuing temporary imprests under paragraph 2, the accounting officer shall ensure that the main objective of the journey cannot be achieved by other cheaper means. B, the applicant has no outstanding imprests.
Good.
C,
the accounting officer
this whole proceeding or this whole sitting and the hearing will be taking place. Remember, after the sitting starts at 9 a.m. or once the chair is taken, the members will be retreating to have a pre-hearing meeting of the senators in a closed door session. Then they will be resuming to the chambers at around 11 according to the order of business for the day, and then the hearing will be open to the public. But a look at what exactly this governor faces is that when the Senate received the resolutions from the county assembly pursuant to standing order 80 over the House on the procedure for removal of a governor, is that within 7 days after receiving notice of a resolution from the Speaker of a county assembly supporting the removal of a governor of a county, of course, pursuant to Article 181 of the Constitution, there are 2 options. The Speaker of the Senate shall convene a meeting of the Senate to hear the charges against the governor, and in this case, the House can make a resolution on whether to hear these proceedings or these accusations at a committee stage or at plenary. And what we understand is that the House on Tuesday resolved to have these matters investigated and determined at the plenary. So today marks the beginning of the official hearing over the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the governor of Meru County. And like I told you earlier, is that the Speaker will be getting into the chambers, give a communication, of course, guiding the House on how this whole process will take place, and the senators will be retreating to a closed session. I now hand you over to this live broadcast. Good morning.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we beseech you to behold with abundant favor and blessings us, your servants, whom we have been pleased to call to leadership positions in this republic. We seek guidance to treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen.
Honorable Speaker, the process going on in this house is very, very important for the people of Meru who are representing this house, Mr. Speaker. And when I see just a log CS gets out there to make some very funny comments on social media, it is very, very embarrassing, and he is not serving, or whatever he is doing is not for the best interest of the Meru people. And I want to warn him that they should keep off Meru affairs. Let them concentrate with the work that he has been given by the president. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I will request actually on this matter, the other majority leader on the other house to actually start processing an impeachment motion to this CS. And Honorable Speaker, on this matter, as Honorable Kajanga has put it, after this process is done, I would request that Moses Kuria is called back to this house, is brought before us so that we can discipline him. Otherwise, he is an embarrassment to the people who voted for the Kenya Kwanza government. And he should be relieved of his duties immediately. So the president should take notice what this house has, the comments you are giving us this house, Mr. Speaker. And I want from now henceforth, let Moses Kuria give us peace as a Meru community. We don't want his support. We know what we want, and we know what the best we can do, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, I am happy that we have come full circle, because this is something that I have said on many stages, that in fact Moses Kuria is an incorrigible national shame. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that I ask myself is just how much embarrassment does the president have capacity to endure? And I can assure you that if nothing is done about Moses Kuria, there is more embarrassment coming. That one I can guarantee. Mr. Speaker, what is most hurtful is that even after your communication, the CS who ordinarily should be asleep thinking about how he's going to make the lives of Kenyans better had the audacity to fire off another tweet on material that was presented before this House. Mr. Speaker, what I want us to do, honestly speaking, action must be taken. I am actually made aware by the members of this House who represent us in the PSC that Moses Kuria ran away with money belonging to Parliament. He should actually be brought to answer questions about those things and removed from his position, because for me, really, there's nothing that brings me greater joy than being proven right about the things that I've said about this administration. And I just want the majority leader, please, about this administration, because as you have said yourself, it casts very serious doubt on the capacity of the appointing authority. How much embarrassment can the president take? It's just one man, Mr. Speaker. So what we want to do, as they said, there's a famous poem by Martin Niemöller. First he came for the media. And when I brought a motion of censure for the media, some of you are saying, oh, Sifuna is in the habit of attacking this government. Now he has come for the Senate. Do something. Do something about this national shame, because it will continue unabated. That is who Moses Kuria is. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wamatenga.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also like to weigh on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is time that we as a country would stand up and be counted with one voice and tell the president that he should not be held hostage by some of these log ministers he has appointed to the government. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this time when Kenyans are suffering from high cost of living, the least that we need are these ministers who cannot even pronounce them to the policy direction, but instead they take it to the tweet and the media to actually abuse and belittle this house. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do join ranks with my colleagues. It is the high time we tell the president he must put the house in order. Some of these cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker, they are a big shame to the nation. The only thing that they can do, Mr. Speaker, when we complain of high cost of living, they tell us to go and dig our wells to produce the oil. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is unacceptable. And I would want to put it in no unmistakable terms. Central region is no shortage of intelligent people who are capable of learning the docket that Kuria is learning, and he should be shown the door as early as today, Mr. Speaker. We have the power, Mr. Speaker, to tell the president that indeed such a CS like Moses Kuria should be fired, if not yesterday, today in the morning, Mr. Speaker. It is a great shame to this house and to the nation indeed that someone at the middle of the night, instead of addressing the pertinent issues that are confronting Kenyans, he would take with a cup of, Mr. Speaker, sir, he should be fired.
Senator Onyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute on this important matter. Mr. Speaker, I just want to generalize my comments because there's an observation I have made. Many of our leaders want to destroy institutions who have a responsibility of making sure that our country runs properly. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Moses Kuria is somebody I've been in Parliament with for many years, including yourself. To a large extent, we have found him extremely intelligent and somebody who made sense. To some extent, he makes himself look such a foolish man, you wonder whether he even ever stepped into a parliamentary house. And yet, sometimes Moses doesn't understand that what he says means a lot to Kenyans. And indeed, our words have consequences. I would really want to plead with him and many other leaders to realize that these houses, the National Assembly and the Senate, are not just talking shops. This is a place where we discuss national policy. This is a place where we influence public opinion. And this is a place where it is assumed that we'll be providing direction on where our country is going. I really would like, Mr. Speaker, to plead with anybody who knows Moses like I do and many others. We talk to him and tell him that he has to up his game. At this rate, all of us are going to become his enemy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, we've done 3 senators each from each side. Now, honorable senators, this cannot be a house of lamentations. This is a house of action. Pursuant to the point of order that has been raised by the majority leader, I implore upon you, honorable senators, to use or to take full advantage of the standing orders to bring sanity to some of these CSs. You have the power under the law, more particularly under standing orders, to deal with the kind of behavior that you're complaining about. So, honorable senators, if you feel indeed that the behavior of the CS is unbecoming, then invoke the relevant standing orders. If you listen to Senator Kajwang carefully, you may not be able to have that latitude to make a final resolution to send the Honorable CS home. But your recommendation to the other house will have a lot of weight. So kindly take full advantage of our standing orders and stamp your authority. Clerk, call the next order.
Order number 2, hearing and determination of the proposed removal from office by impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County.
Now, honorable senators and the parties to this matter, we concluded the case of the County Assembly yesterday. Today we're going to begin hearing the case of the Governor. We have 4 hours within which to prosecute and hear the defense by the Governor. The 4 hours is minus the time given to senators for questions and clarifications. So the Governor and his team, you will have a solid 4 hours to put forth your defense. If you're ready, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members of the Senate. For record purposes, my name is Elias Mutuma, counsel appearing for the Governor in this matter. Within the 4 hours that we have, we intend to call 4 witnesses in support of our case. All these witnesses have filed their respective affidavits, which also double as our witness statements. without much ado, allow me call our first witness, Nicholas Kenywa Josephat. His affidavit, Mr. Speaker, sir, appears on our blue booklet, which is titled The Governor's Response, at page 86 onwards.
You have two booklets, one big, one small.
It is the smaller one.
So just refer those two as small and big for ease of reference.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Kindly swear the witness. Swear in the witness, please.
I, Nicholas Kenywa Josephat, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before this Senate in respect of the matters before the Senate shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Witness, kindly introduce yourself for record purposes.
I am Nicholas Kenywa Josephat, others referred to as Kenywa Muna, elected member of County Assembly representing Impeached.
The County Assembly of which county?
Meru County.
Thank you. Mr. Nicholas Kenywa, have you read the motion for impeachment?
Yes, I have.
That is before the Senate.
Exactly.
Have you also had a chance to look at the governor's response that has been filed?
I have also gone through it.
Have you filed an affidavit in support of the response by the governor?
Yes, I have.
Is it the affidavit contained in that response appearing at page 86 all the way to page 89?
It is.
Do you wish to rely completely on the above in that affidavit?
I wish to rely on it.
Thank you. I will ask you very few questions, targeted questions for the purposes of this motion. Being a member of the County Assembly of Meru, you are privy to the political happenings in Meru County. Am I right?
Very right.
It has been said that the governor of Meru has been unable to work with any of the elected leaders, specifically members of County Assembly. Is that your position?
It is not my position.
Has the governor been able to work with members of County Assembly of Meru?
Exactly after the first impeachment, the governor made peace with majority, if not all, of the members of County Assembly, and we have had a good working relationship.
Yesterday, counsel for the County Assembly said that that marriage was lasted for a few weeks after the first impeachment. Is that the position? And if it's not the position, how long did that harmonious working relationship last?
I can confirm that we have been having a good working relationship with the governor after the first impeachment. It cannot be said that it lasted for a few weeks because it has been so until mid-September when cracks and crises were introduced to the members of County Assembly.
You allude to cracks and?
Cracks, walls, incitements.
Were introduced to members of County Assembly?
Exactly.
Who introduced these cracks to the members of County Assembly, to the best of your assessment and knowledge?
Much of what happened and what has brought us here is incitement to the members of county assembly, mostly by members of parliament, that is members of National Assembly, as well as other political leaders in Meru who may not be elected at the moment.
Thank you. You have had a chance to look at the motion for impeachment.
Yes.
Do you believe that the governor is guilty of any of the charges that she is facing?
I'll say not guilty.
Why do you say so?
Simply because if you look at the allegations, many of them do not impute any wrongdoing on the governor herself. At the same time, I know the decision of the County Assembly of Meru, through 59 members, to impeach the governor cannot be termed as what was their own decision at their free will. There was incitement, there was coercion, as will be demonstrated later.
Thank you. Let us actually demonstrate that right now. You're saying that the County Assembly of Meru did not exercise their mind fully in interrogation of these issues, that they were acting on intimidation and other forces. Kindly explain that to the Senate.
I'm saying the members were not freely exercising their decisions because some were coerced by political parties that they serve through their leaders. Others, it was a kind of a campaign where some of the MCAs were promised that if the governor goes and the deputy governor takes the seat, there will be the doubling of one development fund from the current 15 million that is given by the governor to 30 million. And that one brought some sense of excitement among the members, as well as pushing them to impeach the current governor.
Mr. Nicholas Kenywa.
Yes.
Were you at any point approached and given an incentive to support the motion for impeachment? And if so, what was the nature of that incentive?
Now, one of the incentives to impeach the governor was the promise that once she goes, the one development fund will be doubled from 15 million to 30 million. Of course, there were other inducements, like some MCAs being promised that there will be CEC members in the executive once the governor goes. Some of them were promised to be chief officers.
Honorable witness, listen to your counsel and answer his question.
Thank you.
The question was very specific. Were you approached and given any kind of incentive? And if you are, what kind of incentive? That was the question from your counsel.
Yes, I was.
By whom? Who approached you and what kind of incentive were you given?
Some of the incentives was monetary inducement.
By who? Who approached you?
Now, one of the person who was sent to offer monetary inducement was a friend of mine known as Kemadi. He told me that he has been sent. If I accept to send away the governor, I can get an amount.
Let us go to paragraph 7 of your affidavit. You make certain allegations there. Kindly substantiate what you mean.
You said paragraph
7 of your affidavit appearing at page 87.
I can confirm that the deputy governor also called me and several other members of the county assembly where he sought my support in the impeachment of the governor, and in return he would double our want development fund from 15 million to 30 million.
Is it your evidence before this Senate that the deputy governor of Meru actually
To the Directorate of External Partnership, still within the...
From where to where?
Not from where to where, because it's still within that department.
It's very clear, from office administrator, office of the deputy governor, to Directorate of External
Partnership Affairs.
Is that true?
Yes.
Did you have the powers to do that in accordance to section 59 1B of the County Public Service Board?
In accordance to section 64, I had the powers to.
When you are doing this particular responsibility,
Yes.
were you not acting under the directions of the governor?
No, I was acting as the acting county secretary and head of public service when we did not have that, when that position had not been filled.
You are deploying this person specifically to the office of the governor. True or not true?
That person was still in the office of the governor as an administrator to the deputy governor.
I'll make reference to one Edwin Murangeri, Kenneth Mweti Riongo, Gitobun Kanata, who are acting chief officers. Were these particular persons chief officers of substantive departments before they were deployed to act in those respective capacities?
Which one, sir?
I will refer you to pages 295 of volume 2. Are you there?
The county assembly's document?
Yes, page 295.
Yes, I am.
Please read item number 6 on Elijah Kimathi Tonjera. Just after the word food security, read the next.
To move from the Department of Trade, Tourism and Cooperatives to Department of Agriculture and Food Security as the acting chief officer.
As acting chief officer.
Yes.
Please also read number 3, Kobia Faith Kadure.
To move to Department of Economic Planning and ICT to perform the functions.
Now, and very last, in acting capacity again. Very last, read number 12, Kenneth Mweti Riongo. Very last.
To move from Department of Legal Affairs, Public Service Management and Administration to Department of Trade and Cooperatives to perform the functions of the chief officer trained.
In number 12, is there a reference to in acting capacity? Number 12, that's Kenneth Mweti Riongo.
No, because it's a deployment.
Is there a reference to acting capacity?
There is no, because it's a deployment.
There is no, I take that.
Yes.
Did this particular person go through the...
Council, your time is up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Council for Governor, would you wish to re-examine?
Mr. Speaker,
Council,
sir,
how much time?
I will take 5 minutes or less.
Good.
Now, I have a few questions for you, Mr. Dickson Munene. And one of the questions is about your status in the county government. You have told this House in cross-examination that you were the county secretary or acting county secretary, or that you were holding on to more than one docket. Can you explain that in detail and the circumstances under which that happened? Okay.
When on 30th September of 2022, the governor nominated myself together with 9 others for appointment as CECs. And the list was forwarded to the assembly. Only 3 of us were approved. And on 2nd of November 2022, when we assumed office as a CCM, Legal Affairs and Public Service Management and Administration, it effectively meant that the term of the other CCs had lapsed. And then the governor had to reorganize the executive in such a way that I had to own some position in acting capacity. When we came here for the impeachment motion last year on December, there's an issue that arose that the position of the county secretary had not been properly filled. And the governor, there was a recommendation that the position of the county secretary should be properly filled. That is through advertisement and recruitment and approval by the assembly, the county assembly. So the process began, and thereafter I was given the position to act as the acting county secretary and head of public service, while still owning my substantive position of the CCM, Legal Affairs and Public Service Management.
Okay, so it's not context that you have given this testimony?
Yes, it is.
Now, who are said to have embezzled funds from the county? Are they county officials or other citizens?
Sorry?
Who are said to have embezzled the funds? Who are claimed to have embezzled funds? In terms of designation, or is it correct to say that these are public officials who are attached to the county? Is that correct? That's allegation.
Yes.
And these are under your docket, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
So that it is in that capacity that you are giving your testimony today?
Yes, because these are officers that are under public service.
My good friend, Mr. Thiankolu, made reference to the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act and the issues of incurring expenditure prior. What is your explanation about that?
Okay, thank you. I'm referring to it.
Or
referring
put
to
it more directly,
yes.
Is it unlawful for a prepayment to be made? That is the submission.
It is not unlawful for a prepayment to be made,
yes,
because the regulations that you referred to, if you go to Regulation 91 of the Public Finance Management Regulations of 2015, Regulation 91, Regulation 1 states that for the purposes of this subpart, an interest is a form of cash advance, which is a prepayment, or a float which the accounting officer may authorize to be issued to officers who in the course of duty are required to make payments which cannot conveniently be made through the cash office of a government entity or bank account. So this is where prepayments comes in.
Okay, so that is a legal basis for prepayments.
Yes.
Who is the accounting officer or the AIE holder in the office of the governor?
I indicated there is a chief officer. Initially, there used to be a chief of staff.
Are there mechanisms of accountability in respect to those to those holders, those office holders?
Yes, there are.
Is there a distinction between IFMIS and Impeached?
Yes, there is.
Just in brief summary, so that we, to the best of your understanding.
The Impeached is those prepayments and advances.
Yes.
IFMIS, it's actually a generated document from the IFMIS, which indicates the payments that have been made.
Indicates a payment that has been made?
Yes.
Okay. There was reference to payments that were made during the tenure of Governor Kiraitu, Honorable Kiraitu Murungi.
Yes.
Can you confirm, if it's true or not, that those payments were made actually on the same date? Is that something you're able to confirm?
Yes, I can confirm.
Is that the position?
It is the position.
So that the fact that a payment is made on a single day doesn't mean that that becomes an impeachable offense.
Yeah, and actually, and indicated the reasons why these payments are made on a single day is because at times the county can take 2 months or so, 3 months before the funds are released to the county. During this period, officers are sent to places. During this period, activities are going on. The county is still running. But on the basis that when these funds land to the county the account, then those people who have incurred expenses, they are going to claim those expenses, and the expenses might be paid in a day, even 5 of them, when the money is available.
So that is not irregular?
Yes, it is very regular.
Okay, we will. There was an issue I wanted to clarify about the court order. I saw the stay order, what you meant, what you understood by the stay order and what it meant.
Yes, what I meant is that after these particular officers were given letters, were sent on compulsory leave, the court order froze that letter. Those letters sending them on compulsory leave, meaning that they are entitled to their benefits and salaries as a consequence of that court order.
Okay. We can then answer the last question, which was very difficult, with its simple answer. Mr. Mudomi asked you, about a worksheet, and he put you to task whether it was a photocopy or not. Do you remember that question?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Was that document the original?
It was not the original.
So it must have been a copy.
It must have been a copy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, honorable senators, we will have 10 minutes for questions and clarifications, starting with Senator Mutinda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And my question will go to the Council for the Governor. And let me start by saying that Article 195 of the Constitution is very clear in regards to the powers of the County Assembly in regards to being able to summon for any person to appear for purposes of giving evidence or information, and Part B of that compels for the production of documents. On Volume 2, page 31 and page 32, we have letters that the CEC had been requested to be able to issue audited reports for financial year 22-23, knowing very well we are currently in financial year 23-24. And apparently, the response to the letter indicated that still, the Auditor General was in the process of auditing the financial statements, which forms part of the response that they had requested. And yet, we have already closed financial year 22 and 23. So I would like a clarification as to why the CEC Finance was not in a position to be able to submit the audited reports as required as per the PFM Act. And on the same, PFM Act Article 91 states very clearly that the County Assembly should be able to set the capping for the interest amount. Did the Assembly have the opportunity to be able to cap the amount of interest that is supposed to be used as required? Because we've seen 78 million interest, but what we have in the records as per what has been tabled is amounting to a lesser amount. So we'd want to know the levels of the amounts of the interest. And finally, because I don't think I'll get maybe another opportunity, I would be very curious to know, Mr. Speaker, finally, if today, which is a very key day for this decision for the Meru County, knowing that this is the second impeachment process, Madam Governor, being the second one, you realize that all the MCAs in the first round agreed to your impeachment. The second round, the same MCAs agreed to your impeachment. Madam Governor, knowing very well that the County Assembly are responsible for passing your budgets, how do you then plan, if you go back to the same county, how will you ensure that these same MCAs who still impeached you for the second time are still going to ensure that they pass your budget so that you can continue with the developments required in Meru, and you're going to offer the Meru people the services, quality services that they deserve? Those are my simple questions, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Council.
I didn't get that question, but there are some questions to the witness. Perhaps he can start with those.
Okay, thank you. Probably the question that was posed to me is on why the CEC Finance, what response the CEC Finance gave to the County Assembly when requested to submit the IFMIS, an extract of the IFMIS as per the letter dated 9th October 2023. And the response that the CCM Finance gave, that these are statements that the Public Finance Management Act under Section 164 makes provisions for the county treasury of the county government to prepare and submit the audit to the Auditor General the annual financial statements in respect of county governments. And the CCM further saying that it is upon the completion of the audit that a report is submitted to the county assembly, where within 3 months after receiving the audit report, the county assembly can take appropriate action. So the audit process is ongoing. When this process finalizes, the audit report will be tabled to the assembly, and the assembly can take appropriate action on the same.
Talking of financial year 23-24.
Senator Tabitha, you certainly cannot do that. Proceed, Council.
Just answer.
Okay. I'll let the witness also answer the second question, which was on why we accounted for less than what was set out there.
Thank you. And why we accounted for only 2 million as opposed to the 78 million that has been alleged here is that the manner in which that count was framed, it was, the allegation was that the governor has misappropriated funds through specific named persons who are indicated and collectively referred to as the governor's relatives. It is on this breadth that we endeavored to account for payment that has been made to these particular specific persons amounting to 2 million.
Okay, and then the last question that you asked, or first which was overlapping, we have said that there are consequences for disobeying a summon by the county assembly. That is set out in statute, so that if somebody is summoned and that person does not appear, the county assembly, just like this house, has something it can do to command the enforcement of the orders. So that I think that that is there. It doesn't mean that somebody has to be impeached. There are cases where we have seen, for example, this house summoning someone who doesn't appear. Doesn't mean those people then become a subject of an impeachment. That's what we are responding to in the context of this discussion.
Senator Maruma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is some clarification from Mr. Munene. We have some invoices that are not signed by the authorizing officers. You have indicated that they have not been signed because the original documents which have all the signatures are with the external auditors. But Mr. Speaker, my knowledge of accounting has it that the documents that are taken to the auditors are actually original copies, and you are left with the photocopies. So I don't know how you are able to get these documents that you've put in the annexures. Where did you fish them from? I want that clarity, because then the ones with all the signatures were with the external auditors. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I indicated that these documents, we got them from the file of the Chief of Staff. The Chief of Staff, ordinarily what he does is that before he forwards the document, the original document to the Department of Finance, he makes a copy. And when we were given these directives that we need to respond within 3 days, I requested the Chief of Staff to give me a copy of the file that he owns, where these documents are.
Senator Miraj.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My questions goes to the County Assembly. Are the IFMIS transactions that form the basis of the impeachment of the governor the same ones that are being are the same ones under investigations at the EACC? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Respond.
Mr. Speaker, we do not know. All we know is that this complaint was also sent to the EACC and to many other agencies. Whether EACC is actually investigating it, we do not know, and there is no evidence, either from the governor or from anyone, that the EACC is investigating these complaints.
Senator Lekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I've got two clarifications that I need to get clarified. One is from the lawyer. I was listening to, and the question...
Which lawyer? There are so many lawyers here.
The lawyer for the Assembly. Thionkolu. It's a very good name. Volume 3. We are looking at section 45, protection of public property and revenue, etc. So you referred to 45 2A Roman numeral number 2 and 3. And specifically you said goods not supplied or not supplied in full, number 2, services not rendered or not adequately rendered. So the question that I wanted to get clarity from you is whether you are relying 100% on the IFMIS extracts or you've received audited financial statement as per section 31 of the Public Audit Act. And I want to remind you section 31(5) stipulates that after the audit process, they shall be tabled in Parliament and also at the Assembly. So if you can clarify that, I'd really appreciate it. Number 2, I asked this question yesterday. I didn't get a proper clarification. It has come back again today on the issue of the accounting officer. Section 103 of the PFM Act establishes the county treasury, and it puts the CEC in charge of finance as the head of the county treasury. Section 199 of the PFM Act, which is a penalty clause, stipulates penalties which are going to befall any public officer who is in charge of the resources and does not account for them. Could you kindly clarify whether the documents that you've supplied in the case have been audited by the Auditor General and an opinion rendered by the Auditor General on the actual position of those funds? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Council, proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker, we answered yesterday that the oversight function of the County Assembly and indeed of the Senate is not conditional upon or dependent on whether there is a report by the Auditor General. So it is no requirement that we have a report from the Auditor General as a precondition for raising the issues and picking up the problems that the Assembly has picked in this matter. It is true, Mr. Speaker, that under the PFM Act, the accounting officer would be either the CEC Finance or any other person designated. However, what we have equally found strange, and I think one honorable senator pointed it, the CEC Finance refused, and it's on the record, to submit the documents to the Assembly in our submission on completely outrageous and frivolous grounds. The second matter we found strange is that the documents presented by the governor in answer to the charges are not authenticated by that CEC Finance, they are not authenticated by the chief officer in that department, among other people. We also found it strange, Mr. Speaker, that when this matter arose, the governor chose to call our head of legal as the witness to explain, as opposed to the CEC finance. There is a question of goods supplied and services not rendered. We cited Section 45 of the Anti-Corruption Act because it is one of the many sections that address this question of prepayments. And the specific reason we cited it, Mr. Speaker, is in our very humble submission, Impeached cannot explain the prepayment of 78 million shillings. And even if it were to be accepted for argument's sake, just for argument's sake, that Impeached would be an answer, that would be an admission to abuse of interest by the very definition of the same, because the law specifies what type of expenses can be defrayed by way of interest. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chimera.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that opportunity. I just have two questions directed to either the witness or the counsel to the governor. The response that you filed before us, Governor, page 105 to page 112, on the if mispayments relates to just 3 individuals, yet what have been given by the County Assembly has many other recipients. Perhaps you can clarify on that. The other question I have is on the if mispayments. There are payments made to one Jane Karimi Kaitha, and on a particular date, I think the 20th of September 2022, she received payments totaling to about 3.9 million in one single day. Are these payments also if mispayments, or they are payments related to other services perhaps? If they are not if interest payments rather, how come the county government was paying this particular individual if mispayments as interest and not in other form, maybe RTGS or another form of payment? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Counsel for Governor.
Thank you. The question, I think, Mr. Speaker, has been directed to either the counsel or the witness.
I proceed to respond then.
Thank you. The reason why we have given documents in relation to 3 people or 3 persons mentioned, the answer is in the motion itself and the manner in which it was framed, where it was indicated, the allegation was that the governor has grossly violated the law in the following: through embezzlement of county funds through the governor's sisters and the nephew to the governor's husband, all of whom are collectively referred to as the governor's relatives. That was A. B says is withdrawal of county funds under the guise of payment for various supplies by the governor's relatives. So the manner in which this particular count was framed, we were required to respond to the issues of the persons referred and collectively referred in the motion as governor's relatives, and they were listed, they were enumerated there. So if the motion indicated that the governor, or the allegation or the claim was that the governor has embezzled funds through Jane Karimi or any other person that appears in the IFMIS, then we would have substantively responded to that.
Thank you. Lastly, Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To counsel for the Assembly, there have been repeated references to alleged forgeries. This is specifically with regards to a work ticket whose serial number has appeared severally. I want the Assembly to clarify whether those documents have been subjected to any verification process, which Council is aware, whether there is a document examiner's report to back the allegation or assertion by the Assembly that in fact those documents are forgeries. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Counsel for the County Assembly.
Mr. Speaker, we only received those documents, I believe, on Saturday evening, so we've not had the opportunity to subject them to a forensic examination. However, you don't need to be an expert in forensics to point out that the dates in that work ticket don't follow natural chronology of events. You don't have to be an expert in document analysis if you're familiar with the frequency of the use of motor vehicles to know that the same work ticket cannot apply to different motor vehicles or even the same motor vehicle for a period of 4 months. And it is on those prima facie, on the face of it, discrepancies and irregularities that we concluded they were forgeries. The next reason why we concluded they were forgeries, these are documents that should be easily available in the governor's office. They were not availed to the Assembly when they were requested, and they were not availed to the Assembly in the impeachment motion. We are being slapped with them at the tail end. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, Counsel for the Governor, you indicated you had 4 witnesses. You may now proceed to call your 4th witness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Our next and last witness is Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor of Meru County.
By way of time indication, Counsel, how much time do you think you will need with this witness?
I think that with 1.5 hours, I will be through with the witness.
Swearing the witness.
I, Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, do solemnly swear that the evidence that I shall give before the Senate in respect to the matter before the Senate shall be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Kindly introduce yourself, your full names and the capacity you hold for record purposes.
Thank you, Speaker and Honorable Senators. I'm Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, the Governor, Meru County.
Thank you. You have received the notice of impeachment, and subsequently the County Assembly of Meru resolved to remove you from office through impeachment. Is that the reason why you're before the Senate today?
Yes.
You have had an occasion to look at all the materials presented by the County Assembly in support of the impeachment. You've also had an opportunity to file a response to that motion.
Yes.
That is the response before the Senate, the one dated 3rd of November 2023?
Yes.
together with your affidavit in support of your response?
Yes.
Would you wish, first of all, to affirm that the contents therein form part of your response?
Yes.
Thank you. You were also present at the Senate yesterday when counsel for the County Assembly described you in a certain manner through comparison with a certain criminal in Europe.
Yes, I was.
Is that a true description of your personality?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Specifically, the counsel for the County Assembly accused you of demeaning this House by making a mockery of the impeachment process that found you not guilty in December last year. Did you at any time make a mockery of the proceedings?
Counsel for Governor.
No.
Yes.
The counsel for the County Assembly did apologize and indeed sought to have that record expunged. So as far as we are concerned, that particular record does not form part of the record.
Most obliged. Then I withdraw that line of examination in chief and proceed. Madam Governor, you have been accused of not being capable of working with leaders in Meru, particularly members of County Assembly, and this particular allegation was that you were only able to work for a few weeks after you reconciled with the MCS. Is that true?
That is not true.
That is not true.
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, for how long have you been having an harmonious working relationship with members of County Assembly?
We've been working together with the members of County Assembly till the last almost 2 months only.
The last 2 months?
Yes.
Are you talking about the month of August and September?
August and September.
Yes. So it is your evidence that throughout the year, save for the 2 months, you have been in a perfect working relationship with members of County Assembly.
Extra perfect relationship working with members of County Assembly.
What made it possible for you to have this harmonious working relationship with the members of County Assembly? Did you have any intentional efforts to mend the fallout that you had with MCS? Did you make any efforts after the impeachment?
The first solution was made by this Senate the last time we were here, and I followed the advice of senators. We want to start down with the MCAs. We again sat and had a lengthy discussion with some other leaders, and from there we've been working together.
Particularly, there was the issue of, for lack of better word, word development fund. Were you able to facilitate development projects in all the wards of Meru County?
Immediately after we left here, I facilitated ward development fund to every MCA to the tune of 10 million, and this year 15 million for every ward.
Thank you. You have produced a video, KMV1, which I now ask the technical team to play so that we see the kind of efforts and the fruits that were borne by those efforts. KMV1.
Yaliyopita si mbele, tugange yajayo. Sisi yaliyopita ni past. Kwa hivyo tumeamua ya kwamba hakuna mtu atakumbuka yaliyopita. Ile alikuwa impeached, wale walikuwa wanaipishana wote tumeweka nyuma. Tumesema nikaenda ya maendeleo na kabati ya maendeleo. Kwa hivyo tunafurahi siku ya leo
Mr. Speaker, sir, we are having the same challenges.
Secretariat.
Tunaomba walioisha
Bwana
celebrate maybe disunity.
Just stop the video. The technical team, please go work on it. We will get back to it once the technical team has worked on the system. Council, you may proceed. Once we are ready with the video, we can as well come back to it. we'll always come back to it.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So then, Honorable Governor, we have just started watching a video that is not very clear, but can you try and explain to the Senate where you are in that meeting that has been recorded, who are the members present, and what was the purpose?
We were in the premises of County Assembly of Meru with all the members, the 69 of them, and also the county woman representative was present, and we agreed that the past is over. We start working together for the sake of Meru.
Thank you. And that, can you remember the date of?
Council, I'm informed the video is now ready.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Tumeona ni vyema kuwa tuna embrace one another. Mambo yaliyopita tunasema si ndwele ama tunasema nini? Yaliyopita si ndwele, tugange yajayo. Sisi yaliyopita ni past. Kwa hivyo tumeamua kwamba hakuna mtu atakumbuka yaliyopita. Yule alikuwa impeached, wale walikuwa na impishana, yote tumeweka nyuma. Tumesema ni kaende ya maendeleo na kabati ya maendeleo. Kwa hivyo tunafuraha siku ya leo kuleta ujumbe kwa Wameru ya kwamba we are one. Na tunaomba walio hii ambao walikuwa na celebrate maybe disunity wakae kando kidogo, maana tunasonga tukiwa pamoja. Hatutakubali kuweka tena nafasi ya watu kuingilia katikati yetu. We've kept our personal interest kando for the people of Meru.
Mimi naitwa Ayubu Rudi nikiwa spika wa bunge ya Meru, na siku ya leo ni furaha kubwa kwa sababu ile shinda kidogo tulikuwa naye kati ya ofisi ya Governor Excellency Bishop Kawira Mwangaza na bunge ile naongoza hapa, tumefika, hiyo maneno imefika mwisho. Sema kulingana na uongozi wa His Excellency William Ruto na deputy wa Gachagua, tulianza kuongea wiki moja imepita, na siku ya leo Mama Safi awimelepa akatumwa na His Excellency Gachagua akaambiwa akuje tumalize ile maneno ilikuwa imebaki na kila kitu umemaliza.
Amen.
Kwa hivyo sisi tunataka kuambia Meru na Kenya mzima ya kwamba sisi tuko kitu moja na tumekubaliana kwa miaka 4.5 ile imebaki tutafanyia watu kazi na tutakuwa timu moja.
Amen.
Na tunasema asante kwa President Gachagua kwa kuona ni vizuri Meru iongee kwa sauti moja. Na gavana ni malisini nikisema wewe kwa siasa wewe ndio kiongozi na ndiye mkubwa yetu sisi zote. Na sisi tutakuwa nyuma yako, tutakusupport wewe ukiwa mama yetu na ukiwa baba yetu. Ndio Meru ikae vizuri kana kama Meru akarebweka. Thank you and God bless you.
Jina langu ni Evans Mawira Karia, MCA wa Mitunguo na kiongozi walio wengi katika bunge letu la Meru. Familia yake Meru. Na nataka kusema leo ni siku kubwa sana kwa Wameru. Sababu tangu tufanye uchaguzi hapa Meru, tukachagua governor, tukachagua MCAs, hakujakuwa na amani na hakujakuwa na kuelewana katika upande wa bunge letu la Meru na upande wa governor Excellency Kawira Mwangaza. Lakini siku ya leo sisi tumekubaliana ya kwamba for the interest of Meru tuweke hayo maneno yote ambayo yalikuwa nasumbua, tuwachane nayo kutoka leo na tukamua kushikana na kuelewana kabisa, ndio tuweze kufanyia wa Meru kazi. Na sisi kama bunge letu la Meru tumeambia gavana wetu kwamba sisi tuko tayari, yale ambayo yote yanahitajika kufanywa na bunge, wale mawaziri ambao hatukupitisha, wale chief officers ambao hawakuweza kupita kuletwa katika bunge letu, supplementary budget na mambo yote ambayo yanahitajika sisi kufanya kama bunge, tuko tayari hata kama ni kuanzia kesho ndio tuweze kufanya make sure that Marians do receive their services that they do need so much.
Alafu la pili, we can stop there.
Tunashukuru.
Thank you. Are you able to identify the people in that clip? Are they members of the County Assembly of Meru?
They are all members of County Assembly of Meru, led by the Speaker, AJAABU.
We have also seen the mover of this motion in that clip?
The majority.
The majority.
Yes.
Thank you. In that clip, is there any indication that you bragged about the fact that you went scot-free?
No.
You have also used a certain slogan that you are now being accused of using. Kabati, Kabati, Kaende, Kaende. Did you actually use those two slogans in your speech with members of County Assembly present?
I used it because it is a slogan for development, the speed of development in Meru.
The speed of development in Meru.
That is Kaende, Kaende, Kabati, Kabati.
Just for us to be able to understand, what does this slogan actually mean? What is Kabati? What is Kaende?
Kabati means like accelerating to the fullness of everything, that is highest speed possible. And then Kaende is non-stop. That means that the development will be non-stop and at a very high speed.
Thank you. So when then the mover of the motion comes here and tells the Senate that Kaende, Kaende, Kabati, Kabati is a don't care slogan that says you don't care about anything, is that a misinformation and distortion of facts?
It is.
Thank you. Let us proceed. So then you are seen in many instances using that slogan, Kabati, Kabati, Kaende, Kaende.
Even the MCAs have embraced the same slogan and they also use it.
Thank you. Let us proceed and watch the next video. And you have alluded to the fact that you agreed to give at least 15 million for every ward for development projects. Was that done?
It was done.
Can we watch video KMV2?
Antojaja gwetwa oversight najo ndenda kuburio jubwi muntu uri okuthithiria oversight na ara Nairobi obicine no oversight yeje tureaja tukinyete ndagaceji ni oversight iri kwingi tukwenda ne TV ne Nairobi kana ne kweja gukinya murandi jora tukuona burenda oversight ya groundine kana burenda era obicine na ara Nairobi imenya mantu jajo tinda gwetwa oversight kairi turaugire batu turi mbunge ya Meru no ntubatwe itwe tunengeri mandate MCA no nengeri mandate ya kuthithia oversight ya mirandi yonde ya county government ikatiba ya Kenya no boba nengeri iseria kinya report irera thoma gwa ya control of budget etibati kwamba gwita ara senate kamba kwenye county assembly ya Meru report ire thithagia oversight ya senate ni report yake ya auditor general na etirauma kwa mantu jaja ngibaturugire oversight ikaniritwe na siasa atufanye nini atutaki itwakirigie ntugita gwa DTF na ara mitungu mantu ja utheru bwa bioro na kinya babu na ibonete mantu bioro bira biaki na ndi twakire plant ya na ara bioro bira biojura bikeja bikandrinwa igaikwara mitungu project ya million 17 tingaringe nimpe bwajairi roje rwa mitungu rwa rwita gwa water supply rwa runywa wa mitungu yonde iruthithirwa rehabilitation na project yo nienderete governor 15% done project ya million 18 o mitungu yetu boithatu bugeta kuma karingene ibuje karingene te karingene kara kanyagene kara kamuguru kuma ara karingene ugeta muguru ugeta muchagara barabara yo nethithirwe na yathithirwe na mbecha cia governor ira tugwita cia flagship na nethithitwe na 95% na aru antu boinya gukaura kana gukarotero batita na ndina yetumirite shilingi milioni 5 ringaringira ni governor mpe aibo gutara chiaki nyingana Mwangaza hii 17 plus 18 plus 5 umwenda yake gutara ndagaceje yanu tukinyete aja na aru eje ire gwito kwa matumo Kirimba bridge na yo bote kuona nireketie ibora unairo
we can stop there. The video is quite long. Thank you. Madam Governor, who is the person making that speech in that video?
The majority leader and the person who was the mover of the impeachment motion.
That is Honorable Evans Kawira.
Yes.
You are also seen in that video. Yes. Kindly, are you able to recall the date and where that event took place?
I can't recall the date, but the event took place in his own ward.
Which month was that?
I don't remember the month.
You don't remember? Yes. Is it recent or
It is very recent.
Very recent.
Yes.
Thank you. Kawira seems to be making certain remarks about your performance. What is he saying?
He is very right because he's trying to praise the work that we do in Meru County. One, for the 10 million that we usually give forward development and the flagship projects. What I do as a governor is I go around all the ones and then give the list of all the development projects to the area MCA to read to the people, to understand, and to also for us to be accountable for the funds. Every ward we do a visit with the area MCA, and I usually carry a booklet of the projects, that is ward project and flagship project for the area MCA to read to the people to understand what they are doing. And that is what exactly the majority leader is doing in his own ward.
Can you recall the number of projects that he is mentioning by name that have been done in his particular ward?
In that particular day, we were opening a bridge. He was talking about the roads done and also the bows and so many other things that we did with more than 50 million.
Thank you. I've actually retrieved the date of that event. It was the 2nd of August 2023, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. So then, when you are accused of not being able to work with leaders by the same mover of the motion, do you find some form of hypocrisy?
Yes, and also maybe is being misled.
Is being misled. Thank you. So as of 2nd of August 2023, the mover of the motion thought that you're perfect and you're in good working relationship with at least all the MCAs.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's move to KM3.
Na nediri isipokuwa tu changes tu kidogo na tumonia na kwa na engineer ikabuidwa kinya andro adare ndiri ombira arwe rukamomora rwete anjiraira tokwirwa ara kukaigirwa karabati isa sawa ena rwe ruro to kuyagorwo tuina obichi wako murire public works.
Thank you. Again, you're seen launching a project, yes. A dam specifically. Which ward is that?
That is Mudhara ward, and the one with the document is the area MCA, Aurelio Murangiri, reading the developments, including the dam that costed us 39 million in his own ward.
Are you able to recall the date when you launched this particular dam at Mudhara?
I think it's not even 3 months ago.
Less than 3 months ago?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I will move on to the second issue, which still touches on your relationship with members of County Assembly in respect to projects and Okolea. Let us play the video KMV20.
Ikerie MC watu mawera atugure na maromba. Ikerie MC watu mawera mbeke bila kuno. Na trombeni. Ego mwathani mutura moyo wora wombere ndine eguru wombera bila biona wana bila bitiona kwa. Tuaja muthenya mbere ya mezo ya kumuthenya jo na arwa.
Na ndina hapo ndangu na ngeja na njeko na kanisa kwa mchokeka ngeibweka na mbona unalwa tena kirauni ke mani wenu ndina kirauni ya kanisa Bwana sifiwe. Itobiria ukwana kieni negeki kinyama ikiela kwani nayo kinyanjukwele tukinyete kinyangalele ya ndeka kinyenyi tobile byonjo tukaeja na butiki ngoteleke zikari kilio inkwenda gushokeria ashole ba
Kindly pause the video. you are making certain remarks, and before we go to the remarks, we have also seen the leader of majority again in that video. Where were you with him on that particular day?
That is an Okolea program which is run by my family and my church. We usually go to do the Okolea every Sunday afternoon, and I always invite if they wish to come and join me on Sundays. And with me is the Honorable Mawila, the mover of the motion or the impeachment, who was also involved in that operation of Korea Kanaka Meru.
This was on 13th of August this year, 2023.
13th of August this year.
You are making certain remarks about the capacity in which you are in that event.
Yes, I always tell them that in operational Korea events, they don't see the governor, but they should see their mother, and also a bishop who is coming to assist, not in form of a government, but as a church and as their mother.
Did you explain the source of the resources that you were giving, including the microphone you were holding? I heard you talk about that.
I always do that in every meeting, that everything that I use in Okolea, there is nothing that comes from the county government of Meru, because I've been doing that for the last 12 years.
Thank you. May we proceed with that video?
Barabona ange Okolea bambike nguge. Naru akarukire mtu ule ombukirie gitandene ni mheshimiwa wa Ntura AJAABU Mawira. Mheshimiwa ADVERTISE Mawira alingalingile mwali kama pema mbelembeta kanisene aleta shilingi mwemwe ngiri egana lemwe. Ambera kinyawaga ongere ekirangalisia kumahuta. Kinyawaga ongere ongera merengeti ya bajojo. Nalingalingile wakarwe. DMK twena Aaron beze batukerie ndaike mwambe tutireta uangi
Mwambere na ntobara bakameme bamurike kwega na bativi badikerie Murandi jojo jo Korea Bati tukuruka ya budget ira itangu kindene ya county ya Meru county assembly ya Meru na ini mikagia mbunge de majority linda na ipo enda ku confirm na gukujira na gwikira kirore Ute shilingi kinyemwe twakurukia ya mbeca cia thirikari kenda ya murandi ne Okolea. Kwa uro kuria murandi Okolea kiuria aliuria mantu ja muntu kiumbe murandi jwa gavana Kawira Mwangaza na family yawe na kanisa yawe. Na hikyo naro bukuba tote kwa ya mando mengeja thirikari. Nundu naro murandi jo ringithia ngia jo ringithia muntu jangi no tweri jo ringithia ndo bara bayo mabati. Tutingiri tura toa merengeti uroko uma na makobokobo aja na uroko uma na matres na mando jau jakare sawasa.
Thank you. I think we've had enough of that video. Thank you. Madam Governor, again you are heard and using the same slogan, Kabati Kabati Kaende Kaende.
Yes.
The members of County Assembly were again present.
Yes.
Did they join you in that slogan?
They joined me in that slogan.
Did they understand the meaning of your slogan?
They will understand the meaning of the slogan.
Honorable Mawira is also making certain remarks about the funders of Okolea. What is he saying about who funds the Okolea program?
He says, as the County Assembly of Meru, they are the ones that pass the budget, and they have never passed any coin to be utilized in the Okolea program. It is purely my project to assist the disadvantaged people in our community. And he, as part of the well-wisher, that very early morning, gave me 100,000 shillings to fuel my vehicles.
So he contributed towards your charity project?
Yes.
Let us now move to the next video, 1C, and see another member of County Assembly. I think it's in the same event, you will confirm. 1C.
Gavana wetu na ntubanda bene bonde Bwana Yesu asifiwe misalimia mwagilipo sana onibeta wandie MKMC wa Bogeta West na Baruguru na ande bara batuthinga tete kanyuma ibaide itoiketie gavana tiru lakini na nene ndono kire na umasauru na ndebeta wa Paulo na ndio sema ni nani Paulo na nani ndongere tiendeshi ya mama na toa tisho monoto kera watoka le opposition angana ndeto lingengogea opposition.
You can pause there for a moment. Thank you. Who is the person making those remarks?
He is the MCA and he was the mover of the first impeachment.
He was the mover of the previous motion.
Yes.
This again is on 13th of August this year.
Yes.
Do you in any way seem to have any disagreement with the mover of the previous motion?
Now he's even telling the public that he is now a changed man. They used to disturb Mama, but he has changed from Saul to Paul.
That is in reference to the biblical Paul, who was once Saul.
Yeah.
He's also talking about them being forced, if I can hear him correctly, to join the opposition. What was he talking about?
He was talking about the pressure amounted to them by external forces or by external people that do not belong to the county assembly to fight the government, but he has vowed not to repeat again and support the government.
Thank you. Let's proceed watching that video.
Mimi sitawekwa uoga gavana Kawira anga musupport ulio kuvuganya no ete antunye gitekia boge internet antunye andoma boge taiba ina imani nani na wewe ina imani na decision ya kwa support Kawira na wewe ina imani na Kawira na nande kwa watu kwa nakuwa tukiwa kumivira breaks abo andekera kumivira breaks yetio mbakwa boindwa.
We can stop there for that video. Thank you. Honorable DMK Kiogora says, mimi sitatishwa, sitawekwa uoga. What was he making reference to?
He was making reference to the leaders, the national leaders, and also the party leaders that were telling them to keep off from supporting the government. And also he is also talking about the Kumi Bila breaks, because the people of Meru have started another slogan again, Kumi Bila breaks, and they were warned as MCAs not to continue saying Kumi Bila breaks. So he's telling the people that come from Nairobi to keep off. They want development.
Thank you. We will be moving on to the source of that pressure, sourcely. But finally, in support of your Okolea program, let us watch video 1E. It's a very short video.
Bwana Murega ingirite ngobia ya MCA kwa bodo chiete gatigati yo mutea daktari mutea na kwire bishop untongeretie mbunge lina timu ko na twenio batu sawa atubetu support ni kiambi support ni njoke tu support ni gavana wetu nutu tema maendeleo ya jara kwinai kwinandwa maendeleo ya jara kwinai kwinokiri au age gavana uwe munene okwa na munene weje na ng'ombe tumba kweja na ng'ombe ende ni gavana ndi murevi ndetha ya ng'ombe ndetha ya mburi
Kuinga yu urambikire ng'ombe na mburi ya
We can stop with that. Madam Speaker, who is the person making the remarks in that video?
This is the Speaker of County Assembly of Meru.
And you confirm this was during an Okolea program meeting?
Yes, in Mwangaza ward, Mojo.
Who is the MCA Mwangaza ward?
It's Mr. Njoki.
Mr. Njoki.
He was present.
You also are in the company of other people in that?
Those are all MCAs.
All MCAs?
Yes.
What has the Speaker just done?
The Speaker has donated a goat because I usually give the single mothers and widows cows. And he says, because you've given and donated a cow and you are senior than me, let me donate a goat. And he has done it.
Thank you. Again, what date was this?
It is barely around 3 months ago.
3 months ago. Now, we have alluded to some forces that were behind, or rather that were not happy with this unity between you and MCAs. I want you to identify and tell us what is happening in the next video, 1D. Kindly, may we play video 1D?
MCA gukaribisha ntura ya Bogeta East na mbuge wotwe on behalf ya ntuba Bogeta East na Abogeta West na wenzangu bare aja tucokerie nkatho no ntubwe kinya rire okinya oni mbigirwe ntumba kwithira nteja no nturire okinya gatia kana kara kamumero kuringithia gagatia ipati yakwa na impuigwa kweli imbati kweja kuona no ntone pati ya maendeleo ndene ntura yetu. So ngabana we are so humble tugwiritwe sana batu tuli MCA tuli mpia ADU na ikio tumio kuona na arwa tutena manto amaingi na arwa intukwe gokorea kana kamumero na mami umenye batu tuli mpia ADU
na ndenda ugire ngabana tukamukaria na inya na ora kumbikika kendo mbako boli trangugi no ndo twamwagia thayo tukona inya ya twamwagitie thayo ateja gaguku na nande mbigirwe twirwe tukaria siasa nenu yete mbokani alimo muntu ondu kuoya maratasi nande kula ndu bakamatete ile leta ubirana na mawa na ito abatumira Nairobi gutegera imbie tumicukari era itirie bategera imbie tumiogoti bukuongerwa gutokwaririo ogoti ingabana bakweja ubira mbesa ikwekiwa senate counties ciongerwa mbesa ibaregere kuongera ndi baliuga ibejete kwa basa ule basa iti mbesa ireko
ututu ku Madam Governor na kageta muntu ututu ogira tore no ngato nyongera we ni ntobya Meru ala tomba kogera to abwitira nguge iyo tomba kuchenja as long as Kawira Mwangaza we ni ntobya Meru oni ndakire mbuye mato waambirani isa sawa na
we can post there. We have seen the first speaker, no, actually the second, the one in the black jacket. Are you able to identify him?
Is the mover of the first motion of impeachment, DMK Kawira.
He is heard making certain remarks about Kiberi and forces from Nairobi. What is he talking about?
He is referring to the Meru MPs and also the senator that they should keep off Meru because they have their own leader, maybe referring to the end of state, and then the MCs have their own leader. And he says last weekend they were in a certain town named Maua where they and the Kiberi, the starring stake or spoon, meaning the governor, and they are saying that they will not be part and parcel of what the members of parliament are doing.
Thank you. So the honorable member for County Assembly, Abogeta West, talks about a force that is being advanced using the Kiberi tool. That is what he's saying?
Yes.
And he's telling them to keep off?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us move to video KMV 14. KMV 14 kindly.
Na bakaya batuana na badiri manto yo difference sisi omba kwa dirio bature MCA bembe tute tayari utonye ratio so ende atukuromba tu burungu arimbere gavana na deputy governor bomba kwa bajo hata naira nigenda tukomba kutukinda weta turi antu amwe turi antu bembe na turi MCA na tongeri bonde brantu badurite na ndi na imani manto yo onde akombekana lakini tute kuenda zaitu akulupia budget siasa ikanjiria nigenda mwembe akomba kwa ita ya maendeleo so baba kwa ya na manto akeberi mwene keberi naso agreement mwene keberi naso ketiania manto yembe na rekana yaro ambe tukongangari kokaria mama nonto MPs beto otompu wayo kegonga kwa mama ende mundu arumogeni agoto janganya akili otobo gyagiri atotore mama we are not ready ende ro kolwa gubutu bwena keberi keu ayate gade ana keberi nyegira to ade anajo ogira nkoromba neo iba imenyere lakini kwa kweli maendeleo wale tete wale maendeleo ende manto akeberi na ina keberi toto ogenda ne mbere yetu ende tu atandirite ende ronde kumantonyere mwangaza to egento kemwe noro kaingilia atasiarwa
antu bonde baraba kwenda kurwa bare jegende baberanga mwegembe akugitwa mwegembe akudijwa lakini utinya mwegembe mo kumara tata nontore mwegembe wongo none tote makosa Kawira Mwangaza nayo antu baraba kuja kutata bakere egembe re kuinyirwa iba kuma inventi bange bakumatigania baba dioro kete sese keberi badioro kachete tekegeri badioro kachete oversight you chonde nunto egembe wena regete nunto naije.
Thank you. We can post that video there. Governor confirmed that was on 27th of August this year.
Yes, 27th of August.
This year?
Yes.
Are you able to tell who the people speaking in that video are?
Those are all MCS from Egembe, apart from one who comes from Central Imenti. The rest are Egembe MCS.
They are making a specific grievance about siasa za Keberi. What are they talking about?
They are talking about the members of parliament who had just begun a movement by the name Keberi, coming all the way from Nairobi to Meru, and they are warning them that they have been given work to do in Nairobi. They should continue with their work there and leave them alone because they have only one mama who can assist them to do development.
Thank you. So this was 27th of August 2023. Honorable Governor, if then someone comes here and says that you only were able to work with MCAs for few weeks, are they lying or they're telling the truth?
That is pure lie.
Thank you. We want to understand this Kiberi movement, siasa za Kiberi movement. And I want you to listen carefully to video 3A and see where, or the source, the genesis of the Kiberi movement. 3A. Are you able to even explain what he's saying?
He's talking about that. They will use that thing to... I'm not able to explain. because it has been done by so many men, and now they are ready as members of parliament, him being the leader, to do that to me. And he has recruited so many young men for the purpose of that Kiberi movement, together with the Deputy Speaker of this House.
Can we watch KMV 12?
Tumetoseka kutawaliwa vibaya na mkora asiosiwa, anafaa kuongezwa akafuata kwa tumbo na simiti na mawe ndio atisikie njaa tena. Wangapi wanasema Kawira aende? Kawira baemba. Lakini tunataka kiti ya Mutuma apewe, kiti yake ya deputy yake, magari rudishwe, security apewe, kila kitu apewe, na kiti ya finance, kiti ya pesa apewe. Kwa ndondela la Kiberi. Ndio kuna mkomeno wa Ramera arome anga Kawira. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaunga mkono hilo mjadala umeletwa na Mheshimiwa Mporo, na asante kwa kunialika. Tuendelee namna hiyo. Kazi yetu ni kushikanisha kila mtu. Asanteni sana ndugu zangu. Thank you very much.
Madam Governor, I hope you are able to explain again, or perhaps the message has sunk, what these honorable members are telling members of the public.
The honorable members of parliament and the deputy speaker of this honorable house is telling the public that I defeated men, and in this case they are going to use that steering stick and they recruited so many young men for that purpose, and they have been holding rallies almost in all towns in Meru, doing the same over the weekends. Honorable Speaker, I want to say this is purely politics. Purely politics.
Thank you. There is another video, I think that will be my last, 3C on the gender profiling and harassment. 3C.
Mukoku ingwendo kuona uliki na South America enda ugekana kamurega, lakini towe kamurega tena kana Tuko na boloi angwendo mwe Kawira Mwangaza utendwa leo ukavatia mwana mwene ukidhata. Tuko na boloi tuenda kuwa kenda tutike murega baichu imugoro ku ya mwana nwe ya pronto abori agere mono mbele na kayuyu age babele age batatu tenjamba loi kante njamba kana ko mtoto ala obora masiara de kwereka na nchoke mbele na keberio wewe keda kala ekeda Kawira udire ekeda Kawira ko ekeda na ala mera rume Kawira hango nyo ye kabalo hango ndenda kenda menya wewe mwekuru wale mwekuru muchoro kwa etawa mwenda na mulingeteke urenga wayo kiandaka endukisha ndaka siakwa no mwekuru mukuru.
Thank you. The honorable member is making certain remarks about your husband. What is he saying?
He's saying that he has given me 9 months to be pregnant. And if that is not done, he will do it via what is holding.
Eventually, Honorable Governor, your deputy joined the movement and made similar attacks on you and on your Kawira program. Can we watch KMV4?
Kwete Tharaka County tubatethie, kwete Embu County tubatethie, kwete Isiolo County tubatethie, ukorea kirundu kia thina kia kubate kia kuewa itokwenda kinya tukweana hapo sana diki wewe ndio governor na program Kerundu keke pumbate program wewe tu okolea matwe murungu wake tu etera tu tetera mungu nonto kerundu ke anto bembe ku atote okenda bekwerwa kerundu ke wikire ti makire bagwa tokolea kabisa yo madina yaba ya
We can stop there. Thank you. Honorable Governor, that is your deputy governor.
Yes.
He's making certain remarks about the Kawira program.
Yes.
What is he saying?
He's saying that the Kawira program is a poverty program. They have refused it in their area. The area that
which area is that?
That is Igembe South, where he comes from.
So he's telling members of his ward to reject the
poverty program, that is Kawira, and they should not be ready to receive anything in terms of Kawira. Honorable Speaker, to add to this, for the last 12 years, I've been doing the Kawira, and this gave me favor before God. And my deputy governor, who was just a prison askari, God gave us favor because of this program. And out of the program that raised him from being askari to His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Meru is the same person that is seen on video, the campaigning or demeaning the same program that God used to give us favor before men and women.
And he continues. And he continued, and we watch KMV 15. 15. video was played yesterday, but for your sake, can you explain what the youths are chanting, led by your deputy governor?
That is my deputy governor with some youths from his area saying that Kawira doesn't have a home. She only does prostitution in the county, and they are praising him and warming him up to be the governor or take over the position of the governor of Meru. And that is exactly what has been happening to our members of parliament, including the senator or deputy senator of this house. They have started warming him up to be the governor and take charge because I'm just a woman before them.
Thank you. It got worse by slaughtering of a cow that you had donated. Can we watch KMV 16? Confirm whether that's the same cow you had donated and to whom had you donated the cow. We can stop there. Thank you. Thank you. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I see like the cow is still alive as it's being slaughtered.
Yes.
Was that the cow you had donated?
Yeah, we were in the area of the Igembe South, and then we identified the old woman who was to be given the cow as it was entering into the field. Then they took the cow, slaughtered it just before us.
And they are singing the same song, but they're also making other remarks. What are the other remarks?
Before I say about the other remarks, is that hiyo ng'ombe ilikuwa imebeba ndama ya miezi 6. And then they are saying that the same way they have slaughtered or killed the cow is the same way they will do to Kawira Mwangaza.
Thank you. We can have the video removed from the screen. That has not also been the only thing. You have also been accused of not being a proper Meru. Are you aware of that fact? What? That you have been accused of not being a proper original Meru, therefore unfit to lead?
Yes, they have been accusing me of not being a Merian, but a Kikuyu.
Thank you. Let's first watch KMV 5. You will make those explanations.
Ina ide Kawira Mwangaza aida wanyona kuna gari zaidi inaitwa aida mugure hello Kawira to Kawira umme wa mwego bato tuapa mwego tuapa ibwa tuome uko miete hebu tuapa Meru ni sokere ya uwe mwana wao au tupita kabilao.
What is the Honorable Member of Parliament saying in respect to your ethnicity?
He says that the father of Kawira Mwangaza is a Kikuyu from Kirithaini by the name Joguna, and the mother is Mugure from Kikuyu, and they don't want to be ruled by a Kikuyu in Meru. That's why they want to change to get a real Marian, who is Peter Katirau Munya, the first governor.
Thank you, Madam Kawira. Is it then your evidence before this Senate that pressure has been asserted on members of County Assembly to ensure your removal from office on charges that do not hold any water?
Pressure has been mounted to members of County Assembly of Meru by the same leaders, as we have seen, and they had no option apart from adopting an impeachment motion where they were forced to sign and impeach.
Can we watch KMV 11 on the nature of that threat and whether the MCAs indeed succumbed to the pressure?
Na bunduki ila inachochi ando cha kuromba. Baadhi mwenyato ibia meni ula ugatwira mbazi ni kiraitu. Na ndilo urumuri ndo akiraitu na bunduki cia wako warombe teri. Ukawa na ukawa soka bunduki ndo ya bunduki. Dole ndo leka umogira bunduki cia cia yundie. Bange ba ibia meni no menya taburi yake ama. Ukilo ujando no menya bunduki ila ina chichi ya kuromba bati kwa very careful. Urakara.
Is that the same Saul turned Paul?
His own. Kiraito has taken his own. So I'm left without any weapon to fight, and I should be very careful because they have withdrawn their support as the leaders of political parties or as the senior most people in their parties.
That is barely 3 weeks after DMK Kawira had been seen dancing, praising you, and saying that he will defend you and will reject any influence from above.
It was like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Let us watch then 3E.
Ilo tokuwa bado ilo tutuike amake UDA no tudugani. Withdraw support utukwete mwanga kwa majority rinda to withdraw. As nini manjo chondo tukudidire tikire ku support kira assembly tuike ama. No to withdraw membership betu na bati ku support kaire.
Thank you. Who is the person speaking in that video and what is he saying?
Is the Honorable Senator, Deputy Speaker of this Honorable House, and he's saying that he might withdraw or is ending to withdrawing support of UDA members from being part and parcel of my agenda of development in Meru County.
Was that withdrawal, threat to withdraw, made a reality?
Indeed, after I spoke that, after 3-4 days, it was made a reality.
Let us watch KMV9 on whether that support was actually withdrawn. KMV9.
Must prevail. Number 9, we officially withdraw our support from the governor due to recent events and our proven inability to lead effectively. Our our 10 honorable members are instructed not to in any way associate with the governor in person, Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza. Number 10, we express support for the impeachment of Governor Kawira Mwangaza for the best interest of the people of Meru County and commit ourselves without reservation to this cause, which we commence forthwith. Number 11, we support CS Honorable Medical Tourist political leadership and endorse the proposal to make him the county's spokesperson for a unified voice of Meru County. Number 12, we applaud the newfound unity among political leaders except Governor Kawira Mwangaza for the sake of peace and development.
Thank you. KMV8, I think that is self-explanatory. KMV8. KMV8.
I've been given instructions by our SG, who is Honorable Kanini Kega, that as Jubilee, forthwith, I'm going forward with Jubilee withdraws its support to one Honorable Kawira Mwangaza.
Kabla December tutakuwa na gavana mwingine mpya, kwa sababu hii ni kitu tulianza kitambo na tulianzia hapa. Kwa hivyo tuna vita na wewe gavana kwa hili ya kuonana. Tulikuwa
Those are members of County Assembly, and with them is one member of National Assembly. I think he has spoken in Swahili and English. There is no need to emphasize. Was there a press conference formally by other parties to withdraw their support? And I'm looking at KMV10, and I think that is my last video on this issue of withdrawal. KMV10.
In this county, we have decided forthwith to withdraw the support within and outside the assembly that we have given our governor. Number 3, we have resolved to start a fresh impeachment motion to the governor of Meru, one Honorable Bishop Kawira Mwangaza, and we have already signed, appended our signatures, the 27 of us who form or comprise the Kenya Kwanza caucus in the county assembly in preparation for a fresh impeachment motion.
Thank you.
The one that came last year.
We can stop there. Thank you. Madam Governor, you have seen series of press conferences by various leaders of county assembly, all seeking to withdraw their support. Were the timings of these press conferences within the same period of time?
It was within the same period of time.
Can you remember the month?
I think it's not more than 2 months ago.
That is the month of September?
Yes.
What do you attribute towards the sudden change of heart from you being their darling, being a performer, being their mother, to now castigating you in the manner they are doing, to the extent of them withdrawing support? Is there anything gross you did to provoke them, to the best of your knowledge?
I did totally nothing. And from the last clip, can hear the move of the motion saying that around 27 of them have already signed an impeachment that they are proposing to have. So they signed way back even before. That is what he has said. Number 2, the pressure from members of national government, some few elites, leaders, some few leaders of political parties, the deputy speaker of this honorable house, before God, I want to say they are misleading our MCS.
Thank you. Governor, it got to the extent that even in the performance of your official duties, you were threatened and barred from performing that which you are allowed to do under the Constitution. Is that true?
Yes.
Can we watch KMV6 and tell us where you are, what you're doing, and what happened? You can pause there for a minute. We see you clearly there, Honorable Governor, and there is a young gentleman speaking. Tell us what he's saying and what you are doing in that event and exactly where you are.
That is an event done by the county government of Meru. The county assembly passed a budget for us to take care of the disadvantaged mamas in our community, and that program is dubbed as 1 cow per 1 poor family. We go around the villages, we have a committee to vet and see the most vulnerable person in that certain area. We take a cow to the area and give or donate as government to that particular person that has been vetted by a committee that includes the area chief.
Thank you. So this is not part of your Kolea program for clarity purposes?
This is not part of my Kolea program. My Kolea program we usually do on Sunday afternoon, and this is an official duty, a program that has county government employees and done purely by the county government of Meru. 1 cow per 1 poor family.
Was there any commotion or violence in that event?
There was no commotions. We started with the prayers, as you can see, and we went silently, we did not even advertise. Those are just the neighbors that saw what is happening and came just to see.
You confirm this was in the homestead of one of the poor Meru women?
It is in the homestead of the beneficiary.
Thank you. Can we watch that clip again from the beginning all through to the end?
Gavana, Zargani, nazoka nawe? Kuja tuongee. Ngoja tu tuongee.
Kiangalia hapa hizi.
Tuende pole pole. Wewe watu watoke. Unapata mzee kumi tu peke yake hapa. Watu watoka waende. Mtoke muende.
Naenda.
Mtoke muende. Kama tunataka kwanza vita, mtoke muende.
Huyu ananibebea nini?
So madam, what there is?
Amenibebea nini?
Ile iko.
That is the question.
Nimeongea na yeye.
So, Madam Governor, this is an official function of the head of the county. Why are the police disrupting your function?
The same leaders. It doesn't specifically mention the leader that understands him, but now the influence from the national leaders led to this.
So were you able to complete your donation on that day?
I was not able to complete because it was stopped. And then when they said that we leave, We tried to explain. After 3 good hours in that vehicle, when people came, surrounded the vehicles, that is the time the officer said that it was a mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity. But isn't the officer calling you by your title when he comes?
Yes, he's calling me Governor Kuja. Governor Kuja.
You actually pleaded with him to allow you to finish.
Ngoja nimaliza, akasema pana, we have 10 minutes here, Kuja.
And everyone was dispersed.
Everyone was dispersed.
That was, if I'm not wrong, a day or two before the impeachment. Can you remember the actual date?
I think a day before impeachment.
A day before impeachment.
And that clip is not complete, Council.
Yes.
I think we've not heard the officer saying as to why he had come to arrest me.
You can tell us because you are present. We may not have the benefit of the full video, but kindly, because it is a first-hand experience, tell us the explanation you got from the officer as to why he was seeking to interrupt your official function.
The officer was the area OCS, and then when people came in big numbers, the other bosses came around, and then he was asked to allow me go, and then he also apologized before everyone that it was a mistaken identity, and I forgive him.
Thank you. You have been accused of vilifying leaders. We have seen WhatsApp messages, you making certain utterances on WhatsApp groups, and even in 1 or 2 political rallies, through the videos that were produced. Number one, have you vilified the leaders in Meru? Have you in any way vilified, demeaned the leaders in Meru?
I have not vilified any leader in Meru.
There was a particular comment you made on Facebook, on WhatsApp group, regarding the deputy governor. And you said, ujinga sita kubali. What were you talking about?
I was talking about him having or gathering young men going around demeaning the governor and calling me a prostitute.
Was that a fair reaction, considering what we have seen? Was it expected of any human being to react and defend herself in the wake of such attacks?
Honorable Speaker, I'm not an angel. You must have feelings.
Thank you. Let us go briefly to the responses, and I believe you have answered to all the allegations in your notice, in your response that you first alluded to. You have answered, confirm that you have answered.
Yes, I have answered.
Satisfactorily to all the charges.
I have answered.
I want us to look at the first count, misappropriation and misuse of county resources. You came here and you also invited at the county assembly to answer to specific allegations, correct?
Yes.
Those specific allegations in respect to embezzlement and misuse of funds are found at 10A and B. Confirm?
Yes.
Embezzlement is A, withdrawal of county funds is B.
Yes.
Those were the only particulars of the allegations that you are invited to respond to.
These are the only particulars.
So then you could not have responded to anything outside what was framed.
I responded to the particulars before the charges.
Let me read to you. Embezzlement of county funds through the governor's sisters, Rose Kinya, Miriam Gwantai, Kenneth Gwantai, Nefat Kenywa, Edwin Morangeti. We will not go into whether they are your relatives or not because we did that in another forum. Was there any table of particulars to indicate how much money Rose Kinya received, when they received them, how they have not accounted in A and B, because that is the only place where we see the particulars. Do you see any particular place where you are told Rose received this much, Miriam received this much, Nefat received this much, Kenneth received this much, Edwin received this much? Do you see that in the particulars?
There is no specific way or amount of money that is allocated to every person that the name appears in this accusation.
What instead they did is to throw a bush of infamous extracts and told you to look at those infamies, identify where Rose is, where Miriam is, Kenneth is, Nefat, Edwin. Is that what they did? Just giving you an infamous extract?
Just an infamous extract, to do it by myself, extract maybe the amount of money for Miriam, for Rose, for Kenneth, for Nefat.
Is there any mention in A and B where the amount of 78 million is mentioned to have been, that you are able to respond specifically to what you are facing?
There is nowhere a figure of 78 million is being indicated in this, as for the Miriam, Rose, Wantai, and the rest.
Apart again from the infamous extract?
It is only the infamous extract.
You have also seen the basis of their complaint. It is another complaint by Salesio Mutuma, who tables his own computation and files it with EACC. Is that correct?
Salesio Mutuma is an activist. He files a report to EACC, and the county assembly uses the same report that has been taken to the EACC by Salesio to accuse me of embezzlement of county funds. Nothing else apart from the report by Salesio Mutuma.
So then, even as you're making this response, Madam Governor, it is only out of abundance of caution that you supply the Senate with what you thought was necessary.
Yes.
Did you even have the guide to lead you to where you are supposed to get materials in support of any claim?
No.
None whatsoever?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, was there any audit query or report that was generated by a competent body touching on embezzlement of county funds?
No audit report, no other report apart from an infamous report by Salesio Mutuma, an activist, to EACC.
But you have also taken time to explain what you thought the complainants might have been looking for, isn't it?
Yes.
And you have created a schedule that appears in your response. Kindly look at that. Appearing from what page?
105.
105 of our response, the small booklet.
Yes.
So then, the computation you did there, is it conclusive or is it based on what you understood to be the case from the county assembly? Because there were no particulars.
It is not conclusive.
It is not conclusive.
Yes.
The document again that you attached, was there any particular order to which you are preparing those documents, or you are basically looking at the infamous extract and giving what you thought was a suitable answer because there was no particular charge or request for you to look at any specific issue?
I tried my best to look at it so that I can give a feedback.
Thank you. So had you been properly guided by the motion, you would have done a better job in giving them very specific answers to specific queries?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us proceed to the other charge of nepotism. First of all, let me ask you about this gentleman called Nefat Kenywa, who has been said to be a brother-in-law to you. Do you know Nefat Kenywa?
No. He's an employee of county government of Meru.
He's an employee of county government of Meru. Is he married to your sister?
None of my sisters are married.
Your sisters are single. So then Nefat cannot be your brother-in-law?
No.
Edwin Mutuma, is he your nephew? Nephew rather to your husband?
No.
You know very well the relatives or rather siblings to your husband?
I met him around 4-5 months ago.
That is Edwin?
That is Edwin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's not, again...
he's not a relative.
He's not a relative. Your husband, and now that Amatit, has been accused of vilifying other leaders through a musical performance. There was a video that was played. For the sake of time, I will not ask for it to be played, but you are also present. I want you to look at the lyrics of that song. And even before you look at the lyrics, you were present.
Yes.
That song, to begin with, was sung in the Kiswahili dialect, true?
Yes.
So there was no need for it to be interpreted.
But Council, it's my prayer that we see the song so that I clear myself from that allegation.
Very well. Can we play? I could be guided where that clip is. It was a clip by... As we wait for the song, Madam Governor, we will watch it. But did your husband make reference to any elected leader?
He did not.
Did he make any reference to any other leader by name?
He did not.
What was the first gentleman saying in his song, to the best of your recollection?
That's why...
We have got the Kiswahili. Just read a few. At page 251 of volume 2 of the County Assembly's document. Very quickly, Madam Governor, I urge you to read. We are pressed for time.
They want, is that one?
Yes, just read in Swahili.
They want Kawira to come and help them steal. Kawira is against it, and when Kawira refuses, they dig...
I would love you to read the Kiswahili version. The song was sung in Kiswahili version. That is the translation. Kindly read the Kiswahili version. This is also a Swahili speaking.
Kila siku wanamtafutia makosa, wanataka Kawira awasaidie kuiba. Kawira akakataa, akasema yeye hataki wizi. Wakati alipokataa, wakaanza kumshimbia mashimo. Wanataka Kawira akule pesa, nao wanataka Kawira wakule pesa za barabara. Wanataka Kawira akubali wakule pesa ya dawa hospitali. Wanataka Kawira awasaidie kukula mali yetu. Igembe na waeleze ukweli kabisa, mpaka sasa sikilizeni kwa makini. Wanapanga pia kuchukua maisha ya Kawira. Wanapanga sasa mpaka kumuua Kawira. Lakini najua maombi yenu, huyo shetani ameshindwa katika jina la Yesu. Ati walikuwa wanasema tangu ile wakati ya impeachment ya kwanza, Kawira hajawahi kunywa chai kwa mikahawa ya Nairobi. Mara ya mwisho Kawira kunywa chai mikahawa ya Nairobi ni ile wakati ya impeachment, na hiyo sasa ndio inafanya maadui wake wakasirike kabisa, eti wanamtaka Kawira kuliko akuje okolea awe akienda Nairobi kule wakunywe nao chai na meza na pesa zenu. Kawira naye amekataa katakata, akasema kazi yake ni mashinani. Wenye wivu wajinyonge, wenye wivu wajinyonge.
Is there anything demeaning or targeting any leader in those lyrics?
No, nothing. No leader is being targeted or mentioned by name.
Is it true that you're facing a threat to your life, that the first gentleman in a musical performance passed that information?
It is.
Is there anything wrong in that, in your husband coming to your defense when your life is in danger?
He should come and defend the wife.
Thank you. You have been accused of particularly assigning diplomatic duties to your two sisters, unqualified sisters.
Yes.
You have made an explanation to that allegation. Can you point out where that response is?
It's in page 10.
As we peruse through, Mr. Speaker, sir,
It's page 15.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I note that my time is up. I'm seeking your indulgence for just 30 more minutes for me to wind up.
You need an extra 30 minutes?
Yes, indeed. Most humbly, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I can proceed.
Thank you. Tell us the response you have offered to the allegation that you assigned your two sisters diplomatic duties.
I was invited, courtesy call to embassy in Nairobi, that is Slovakian. While on my way, I was diverted to attend a function at the State House. I can explain without reading.
Yes, kindly proceed.
On my way, I was accompanied by the County Secretary of Meru, my personal assistant, my bodyguard, and my driver. And then on the way, there was an urgent meeting. I decided to attend the meeting first so that I can join the other team later. The county secretary joined, went to the embassy. As I was finishing from the State House, they had already done with the meeting. So I did not assign my sister any duty. It is just because I had traveled with my personal assistant and also the bodyguard to attend the meeting.
Did you later offer an explanation as to who attended that meeting and what was discussed in your Facebook at page 94?
Yes.
You confirm that the person that attended that meeting and presided and had discussions was the county secretary?
Yes.
Thank you. Let us go to the China trip that you have been accused of sending your sisters and relatives to a tour. You got an invitation from a company?
Yes, to China.
To China?
Yes.
Did that company represent itself as having affiliations with the Chinese government, to the best of your understanding?
Yes, in the first case, it associated itself with the national or the country of China.
The state of China.
Yes.
You had planned initially to attend that trip. Is that the position?
Yes, I am planned to attend.
But before that, tell us, how often do you travel outside the country as the governor of Meru? How many trips have you had outside the country from the date you were sworn in as the governor?
I've only traveled once.
To which country?
South Korea.
When was that?
Around 6 months ago.
What was the practice when you traveled? How do you travel? Do you travel with your team together? Do they travel in advance? What happened during your last trip to South Korea?
For this specific one, I sent my personal assistant, my bodyguard, and the team in advance. And then I met them there later.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you send them in advance?
For preparations and also to know exactly what I'm supposed to do and arrange everything before I get there.
Okay. Was that the case with the China trip?
Yes, it was the case.
So who traveled to China and for what purpose did they travel?
Those who traveled to China are 4 people. One is the Waziri for Health.
Yes.
And one is the external leakages acting director, my personal assistant, and my bodyguard.
Did you eventually travel to China?
No, I didn't.
You did not?
Yes.
Why didn't you travel to China?
When my advance team arrived to China, it was contrary to what the Chinese people and the brokers. The message that was given to our office was different because the private company or the people that came to visit Meru associated themselves with the Chinese government, and upon arrival of my team there, it was contrary to what they said. It was just a private business company interested in investing in Meru.
So the assertion that this was an opportunity for a cancer center to be established in Meru by well-wishers through a private public partnership, is that the position?
Isn't the position. If at all it was a donor donating even a single item, I could be the first one to get there. But it was purely a business company interested in doing business in Meru.
You have read the affidavit of your CCM, George Gekunda.
Yes.
He explains clearly that they even discovered that the people who had invited you did not even have a physical office in China.
Yes, I've read it.
That they took them through various companies that manufacture items.
Yes.
Could not prove that they have any affiliation with any of those companies.
They did not have any.
Was it then safe for you to proceed to China with that information having been availed to you?
To me, it was a waste of time, even though the company was offering full sponsorship. But now, going to China just because of assisting some people to come and do business in Meru, it wasn't a priority to me.
Thank you. You have been questioned why the CEC or yourself did not seek any visa clearance to China. Do you have a Chinese visa?
Yes.
Yes, you do. So there was no need for you then, for the CS to ask for a visa to be provided. You already had one. Thank you. The governor, the deputy governor, has also accused you of arbitrarily relocating his office from next to your office to another block, changing the locks. Let me just read specifically. Number one, he is accusing you of arbitrary reduction, suspension, and withdrawal of budgetary facilitation. Were you in any way involved in reduction and withdrawal of his budgetary facilitation?
No, and I cannot do that. In our office, we have AIE Older, who used to be the chief of staff, and he does, via other officers, facilitation to our travels, facilitation to our offices, and it has been done according to the way I know things.
In fact, yesterday during cross-examination, it was discovered that one Nefat Kenya received a lot of facilitation on behalf of the deputy governor. Is Nefat Kenya an administrator in the office of the deputy governor?
Yes, it is the deputy governor himself that suggested that Nefat Kenya to be the administrator in his office.
Thank you. You have been accused of threatening the deputy governor to inflict bodily harm against the governor. And this is in reference to one of the WhatsApp group that you said, nitafinya kieleweke. You remember that WhatsApp group, WhatsApp post?
Yes.
What were you talking about when you said nitafinya kieleweke? You were also accused, to combine with that, of mobilizing jeshi ya kumaliza deputy governor. What were you referring to when you said choma jeshi?
Specifically, council. I would like to see where exactly I have referred the kufinya kieleweke or the jeshi to my deputy governor.
So you deny making that particular
The allegation is that it's to the deputy governor.
Yes.
Where exactly have I referred to my deputy governor?
Thank you. Who then were you referring to, or what was the context?
I was referring to the kind of things going around in Meru County, the type of bullying that is going around. Of course, as a leader, you have to respond to some of the issues that goes around. Kufinya kieleweke, what's wrong with that?
Thank you. So you were not making any reference to
I was not making any reference to any particular person.
You have also been accused of forcefully breaking, entering, and ransacking
a criminal. For the relevant authorities for doing such an act. I've never done that.
Thank you. Arbitrary relocation of the deputy governor's office. Is it true that there were reorganizational issues in the office of the governor that saw certain offices moved from one location to the other?
Yes, there was reorganization after we earned a big team of acting chief officers. In Meru, we have two blocks, the old block and the new one. And then the old block that has been used by the first governor, Kiraito Moronge, and partly by Honorable His Excellency Peter Menya. And that is where the deputy governor was reallocated to stay.
Thank you. Let us move on to the issue of accusing other leaders of being the 10 cartels in Meru in an event where the head of state was in attendance. Were you referring to the members of parliament? Because that is what was said yesterday.
counsel, why would one suggest that I was referring to anyone when I've not mentioned one?
Who were you talking about when you said kuna makatel zaidi ya 10?
There's a certain story in Meru, maybe to take 1 minute to explain. One person thieves broke to his home, stole his own goat, and then there was a chief's meeting with everyone in that village. And that old man akaenda amebeba mkuki, akasema ya kwamba katikati yenu ninaona kuna mtu ambaye ameiba ile mbuzi yangu. Just in 1 meter I will kill that person. Hakujua ni nani. Mtu mmoja akachomoka tu mara moja akaenda. That's when now the man realized who the person was. In my case, when I talked about Makatel, I not mention anyone. I said this county will not be micromanaged by few cartels or 10 cartels and few rich people to assume that Meru is the way they want to paint it bad.
Thank you.
I did not mention anyone.
You did not mention anyone. That's quite important. There are these WhatsApp groups in Meru, County Admin Services, Third Government, 012. Are you the admin of these groups?
I'm not. I was added in that group.
You were added in that
Yes.
group. Is it an official WhatsApp group in Meru?
No, we don't have an official WhatsApp group in Meru County.
Did you at any moment incite or encourage any admin to remove the deputy governor from?
I don't know even the administrator. I was just handed.
Thank you. Did you encourage anyone to demean or insult?
No.
You did not. Thank you. I'll not talk about. Let me ask you this question. It's quite important. It's the issue of sending certain employees of the county on compulsory leave. You remember that issue?
Yes, I remember.
You remember that issue? Number one, are you the one who sent these people on compulsory leave?
I'm not the one.
Who did that?
The county secretary.
County secretary.
Yes.
Are you aware that they were sent on compulsory leave?
I was notified after the county secretary sent them on compulsory leave due to some allegations that were reported to EACC.
So you are not part of the decision to send these people on compulsory leave?
No.
But you made a comment on Facebook about that issue.
Yes.
You confirm that you have appointed certain people to take charge of the revenue board.
Again, the appointment was done same as the sending of the same or the people on compulsory leave. Mine was to show or for people to know that these people are no longer doing or acting on behalf of Meru County government, and these are the new team that is on board.
Later on, you were subject of court proceedings in a case where these people cited you as a respondent, and subsequently there were contempt of court orders issued. Why were you cited as a respondent in that matter?
By virtue of my office, not even that single matter, but almost in all matters, I'm among the third or the fourth or the seventh respondent by virtue of my office.
So does it point out to any personal responsibility, or it is normal and ordinary for parties to file cases against the office of the governor?
It is normal, especially when it touches the county government of Meru.
Indeed, Madam Governor, when you came to office, you continued defending cases that were filed against the office of the governor for actions that took place even before you got to office?
When I got to office, I met 800 and something cases in court.
those cases were citing the governor as a respondent.
Yes.
Did they in any way communicate that you personally had a responsibility to the action that offended the person who went to court, or it is by virtue of the office?
In all those cases, there is nowhere where I was directly responsible.
Thank you. Lastly, we have an issue of appointment of the following person. But before I go there, let us talk about the traffic marshals in Meru. You have been accused of creating this office called the traffic marshals without following due process. Did you commit that offense?
I did not appoint anyone for the traffic marshals. That was a pilot project from the Department of Public Service. Just like any other governor or leader, you are mandated or you're supposed to launch a project. But I did not participate in employing any of the traffic marshals.
Did you later seek the approval of the County Public Service Board to create this office?
The county secretary did it.
And those discussions are ongoing?
The discussions are ongoing.
Thank you.
And one comes on a ask, who then were the drivers of the border? We have the enforcement team and some few others that were piloting or were used to pilot the project. So we've never employed any single person to do that duty.
Thank you. You have been told that you bear the ultimate responsibility even for actions of your CECs, county chief officers, directors, drivers, your chief of staff. What is your understanding of your role as a governor of Meru County?
Of course, to provide leadership counsel, and also, even though in some ways I might be involved where I'm directly giving a direction, maybe via memo, because a government has a way of communication. But in this case, or in all these allegations before me today, none of them that I have alluded my signature, neither given a memo for the accusations that are before me.
Thank you. The very last, we have seen a lot of, and I do not wish to go deep in it, but we have seen the county assembly trying to make a big deal of some payments that were done on one day to Rose, to other members of county government. Is it that these people are being paid for forged interest, or why is it that there is an indication of many payments done on one day? To the best of your understanding, though you may not have the technical.
In county government, Mr. Speaker and the honorable senators, we receive funds not in one bunch. At times, funds are delayed, and some functions have to continue, like traveling, like meetings, and in most cases, we do or they do using their own money, like traveling, and then when money gets in or lands to our accounts, then they are paid. The issue of paying 10 payments in a day might have been a delay of payments which has not been done for a month or two.
Thank you. When you travel, is money put in your account, or it is deposited in the account of your PA, or it's your PA who receives it?
Since I became a governor, none of a single or no single coin has ever been deposited to my account.
How do you travel? Who then receives that money for your facilitation?
The PA,
Thank you.
the administrators.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, sir, that is all for this witness. I wish to hand her over for cross-examination. Thank you.
County Assembly, you may proceed to do your cross-examination. By way of indication, Counsel for the County Assembly, how much time do you need?
Mr. Speaker, if it finds favor with you, we request 2.5 hours.
You request?
2.5 hours. We only make this request, Mr. Speaker, based on the scope of the issues covered by the witness. They are not issues we can address in a short time. Our main witness, I think, was cross-examined for a similar amount of time. It's only fair for purposes of equality of arms.
Let's try 1.5, and then we'll gauge it from there.
The Honorable Governor Mwangaza, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Council.
Would you agree that the cultural structure and values and attitudes of the Mount Kenya community are substantially similar, even though there may be small details of variation?
No.
So it is your case, the culture of the Meru, AJAABU, and the Gikuyu are vastly different.
Yes.
Are their languages also vastly different, or are they substantially mutually intelligible?
Different.
Are they mutually intelligible?
No.
I put it to you, Kawira, that anyone who lives in this country actually knows there isn't much difference in the cultures, values, and attitudes of those three communities. What do you say to that?
There is difference because, for example, in Meru we have Jorincheke. Do the Kikuyus have Jorincheke?
They have Kiama, and I'm sure you know even the Jorincheke is also called Kiama. It's just a difference of names. Anyway, Governor Kawira Mwangaza is the governor of AJAABU a man or a woman?
A woman.
To the best of your knowledge, is this woman governor being hounded out by some misogynistic male leadership?
Unless she's here to testify, I cannot testify.
To the best of your knowledge, has the woman governor of AJAABU been impeached 3 times? Has she faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
I know of one Anu Guru who was impeached twice.
Let's stick to AJAABU for now. Has the governor of AJAABU faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Nakuru equally as a woman governor, right?
Yes.
It has a huge population of Mount Kenya diaspora. True or untrue?
True.
As that woman governor in Nakuru faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Kwale as a woman governor, true or false?
True.
The people of Kwale are Bantus, just like the people of Mount Kenya, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Has that woman governor faced 3 impeachment motions in the last 1 year?
No.
Homa Bay, which is a different cultural area, as a woman governor, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Has she faced any impeachment motion in the last 1 year?
No.
As a matter of fact, Meru itself
as an elected woman MCA, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
To the best of your knowledge, has that woman MCA in Meru encountered any backlash from a toxic masculinity to hound her out of office?
Several times.
Have you adduced that evidence anywhere in your response?
No, because it was not part and parcel of my response.
Meru as a woman representative, correct or incorrect?
Correct.
In fact, you yourself were a woman representative of Meru for a whole 5 years.
Yes.
Did anyone try to recall you because you are a woman?
No.
Good. Let's go to, you just told Mr. Speaker, it's more common story in Meru. Tell me whether you know of this story, which is also very common in Meru, of a woman who would beat her husband, then scream, and because the society is socialized to think it is the man beating the woman, and she has locked the house, people think it is the man who was beating the woman, while the truth was the other way around. Have you ever heard of that story?
No.
Of course, you've never heard of it, because it's not convenient. Let's agree, Governor Kawira, for argument's sake, without conceding, let's agree the MCAs are indeed acting under the influence of external people. Would that mean your sisters never received the monies we allege?
Pardon?
If we temporarily agree for argument's sake that the reason the MCAs have impeached you all these times is because of toxic masculinity and evil motives and malice and whatnot, we want, for argument's sake, in my next series of questions, to work on the assumption that that is true. If the MCAs are malicious, would that be an answer to why your sisters were receiving monies irregularly from the county?
No.
If the MCAs are intimidated or influenced, would that be an answer to the count on usurpation of statutory functions of the County Public Service Board?
No.
Indeed, Governor Kawira, the motivations of the MCAs, you will agree, are therefore irrelevant as long as there is evidence in support of the charge.
There is no support in the charge.
That's for the Senate to decide, but assuming there is evidence in support of the charge, is it your position the charge would fail because even though there is evidence, the MCAs are driven by an ulterior motive? Is that what you're inviting the Senate to do? Assuming the Senate believes you're an innocent victim of evil machinations, does that undo the evidence against you on the charges?
The charges should have evidence.
If they have the evidence, my question is, would evil intentions on the part of the MCAs undo that evidence? Would the evidence cease to exist because the MCAs are acting maliciously?
No.
The answer is?
No.
No. So you will agree with me, therefore, the case against you should be decided on the evidence, not on the motivations of the MCAs.
Yes, on the evidence.
Thank you very much. That's a very useful answer. Let's go to the complaint by Celesio. Mr. Speaker, that would be from page 1 of volume 2. You just told the Senate that the reason you did not account for the entire 78 million is because the motion only related to your sisters. Is that still your position?
Yes.
Did you read volume 2 as you read the impeachment motion?
Where is the volume?
Did you read the bundle that contains the Assembly's evidence?
The evidence is the IFMIS extract by Celesio.
Correct.
Yes.
In fact, the impeachment motion says the evidence is in the complaint by Celesio. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
It would mean, therefore, the impeachment motion must be read together with the complaint by Celesio. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Can you refer to paragraph 11 of the motion? (11A), can you read it to the Senate?
Yes, I can read.
Read it for us.
87 of 68. Evidence of the governor engagement, convenience, and complicity in the proceeding. 2, gross violation of the Constitution. 3, 2, gross misconduct. 3, gross abuse of office to be found in, accompanied by Duranira Celesio Mutuma to Ethics and Corruption Commission on 11th August 2023.
So you agree you are given sufficient notice that the Assembly will be relying on the complaint by Celesio in the motion itself. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Fair enough.
Incorrect.
We said it's okay, we can live with your answer. But let's go to the complaint by Celesio. Can you go to page 4, volume 2? What does it say? At 2.5?
For volume.
It refers to Kawira, Rukaria, Catherine, isn't it?
Yes.
It is therefore correct that you had prior notice. There is a complaint by Celesio regarding payments to this particular person.
Kawira, Rukaria.
Did you or did you not receive this page 4 of volume 2, Governor Kawira? Either you did or you did not receive it.
I want to see the charge first because the charge talks about embezzlement of funds by relatives.
Yes, we moved from the charge to the evidence where you already referred to the complaint by Celesio. The has to be read in its entirety.
The author of the IFMIS report, Celesio, in the IFMIS report, we have more than 100 persons who have received funds.
And all these 100 persons are persons working in your office. Correct or incorrect?
And these 100 persons are not mentioned in the impeachment.
Fair enough, Governor. Do these 100 persons work in your office? Either they do or they don't.
I'm not aware of everyone who works in my office.
Good. But does page 17 indicate these are transactions by persons who work in your office? At the top of page 17, does it show that these are transactions by persons who work in the office?
Currently, county government of Meru, we have 6,000 employees, and I cannot know every person by name.
Governor, unfortunately, you don't have the luxury of ducking my questions. My question is, does this IFMIS indicate in black and white that these are transactions by persons working in your office?
I don't.
Either it does or it doesn't.
I don't think so.
Can you read the top, the very first item on that page 17?
Yes.
Read it to the Senate.
Vote. These are small ones, I can't see.
I don't mind if your assistant can read for you.
Okay.
She can read for you.
Vote 3562, Meru, Office of the Governor.
You will agree, Madam Governor, the document itself indicates it's about transactions in your office, not another office.
In my office, from July 2022, when I was not the governor of Meru.
Yes, and while you were seated here, we pointed out only 12 transactions lie in the previous regime. All the others have happened when you were the governor, correct or incorrect?
And that's why, Council, you want me to know everyone who, including those who worked in the previous regime, from this document?
You won't get away from this, Madam Governor, by being clever. Can you see page 17? You confirm the transactions begin on 1st July,
yes,
when Kiraitu was the governor,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And it follows like that, 1st July, and when July ends, the next entries are for 20th September 2022. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct. You are the governor as at September 2022.
Yes.
It must therefore follow that for all these hundreds of transactions, all of them except the first 12 happened during your tenure as governor of Meru.
Yes.
Good. Let's go back to the complaint by Celestio. At page 4, Celestio talks of withdrawals by Kadure Rukaria Catherine. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And he has analyzed them, and most of them are indicated the payment description is not applicable. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
In your understanding of government accounting and PFM, should public money be expended and the accounting description is not applicable?
Council, I'm not an accountant.
You are the governor, unfortunately, so answer my question.
As the governor of Meru, the way I understand is that after this IFMIS report, if it's a genuine one, of which I doubt, follows an audited report. Before me, if it was an audited report which clears or rectifies any mess that is in IFMIS report, then it could be a question that I could be easily able to answer.
Does the county government have access to IFMIS?
Yes.
In fact, your junior officials have credentials to IFMIS.
Yes.
Therefore, they could easily have just logged in and printed the correct IFMIS if your case is you doubt the authenticity of this one. Correct or incorrect?
I repeat again that IFMIS extract is not the final document.
That's not my question, Madam Governor. The question is, would your CC finance, would your Chief Officer finance, would your own Chief of Staff, who is the accounting officer in your office, do all these people have login credentials to IFMIS?
They have.
Good. And therefore, when the Assembly asked you to present the IFMIS extract, all your officials needed was to log in, print, submit. Correct or incorrect?
There was a reply by the...
There is a reply. Answer my question. All they needed to do, if there was any reason to doubt the authenticity of this IFMIS, was to log in and print.
Council, do the Assembly rely on IFMIS?
Madam Speaker, I ask that the witness answers my question. I don't want to have an altercation with her. I need your protection, Madam Speaker.
Madam Governor, just answer the question, please.
They have the right to print the...
Yes, and therefore you will acknowledge all they needed to put this matter to rest if there was no embezzlement was to log in and print. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
But instead of doing that very simple task, your CEC and your officials, what they did is to manually type their own figures instead of those on the system. Page 105 of your response. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
Are you saying the document at page 105 of your response is a system-generated report?
This is generated from my office or from the Salesio?
It is from your office. It is in your response, Madam Governor.
In my response, we are dealing with the IFMIS report by Salesio, the activist, or a report from my office.
If I unpack your own defense for you to answer the question, I don't know, Madam Speaker, who is answering questions. In your defense, you actually rely on the report by Salesio. And in addition, you have brought something you have manually typed, which is a parallel document, not the one from IFMIS.
Council, you're insisting that she has typed and she's saying they did not. Can you re-ask the question so that she can answer that?
On its face, the document in your defense, is it generated from IFMIS or is it manually typed? Because that should be clear from the face of the document.
This is the summary of IFMIS payment.
It is not an extract from IFMIS, is it or is it not?
It is an extract of the IFMIS.
Does it have a timestamp?
Time what?
And if timestamp?
Yes.
Where is the timestamp? Show it to us.
It has the voucher number, the payee.
I'm not talking about voucher numbers. I'm talking about a timestamp. System-generated report from IFMIS indicate when they were printed, when they were downloaded. They leave a footprint. Who keyed them and when? You will agree, Madam Governor, so that we save time, your document is not system-generated. And that's why I said you typed it. If you refuse to answer the question, I'll proceed and invite the Senate to make whatever conclusions it wants to conclude from that refusal.
Council, you can put it to her and proceed.
There?
You can put it to her and proceed.
Madam Governor, I'm putting it to you that you're refusing to answer this question.
I'm not refusing to answer any question.
I put it to you, you're dodging my questions.
Which one particularly?
whether the report at page 105 of your defense is a system-generated document or a document typed on a desk by someone.
It's a system of a summary of IFMI's payment.
We'll leave it to the Senate to see who to believe on that so that we don't spend all the time on one issue. At page 10 of our volume 2, how much money does Celestio say Catherine Rukaria irregularly withdrew from the vote for the office of the governor? 29, there is a total there. It is how much? Can you read it for the Senate?
Grand total payment made by Catherine Rokaria, 29,018,714.
How much does he give as the total that was withdrawn from your office during this period covered by the IFMIS?
Grand total paid to the county government of Meru.
Yes.
That is 188 million. That is the grand total paid to the county government.
Read the exact figure. What is the exact figure?
88,609,373.
And he says the amount withdrawn by just one Catherine Rukaria is what percentage of the total? It is indicated there in black and white?
15%.
15%.
Yes.
Let's go to lead and cover, same page 10. Again, Celestio has outlined many payments where the description is not applicable. Correct or incorrect on the face of it?
Correct.
Let's go to page 12 that involves your sister. Celestio has again listed all the specific payments to your sister. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And again, most of them, the item description is not applicable. And on the IFMIS, the description is prepayment. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And what is the total amount, this sister of yours?
2,769,000.
Is this amount smaller or bigger than the total amount for the interest you have submitted to the Senate? This amount here of 2,769,000, is it smaller or bigger than the amount you have accounted for?
Let me see the booklet that I have accounted for.
You have only accounted for 2.6 million, Madam Governor, for all the relatives, and yet for just one of them, the amount irregularly disbursed is 2.7 million. I'm putting it to you that the sum of the amount of money you have accounted for all your relatives, is actually smaller than the amount paid to just one of them, as per this document.
And as per this document, which is an IFMIS report, the audited report clears any error that is in this report. We have cases in this same report that you are referring to, some of the payments named as hospitality payment, which are hospital surprise rather than hospitality payments. We will rectify the mess which is still in our evidence booklet named as hospital surprise rather than hospitality surprise.
Governor Kawira, who is responsible for inputting transactions on IFMIS at Meru County?
PFM Act Section 103 gives the responsible person to correct the measures. It
So
establishes the CEC finance is the end and it makes all decisions. And the Public Audit Act 31 spells out the audit process for documents to be tabled before Parliament and Assembly.
So you will agree with me?
So this IFMIS report must go through the audit for us to get a final copy that can be read by this honorable House.
Except that's not the question I asked you, and I agree with you. But you agree the answer to my question is that it is your officials who enter the data in this IFMIS.
Who is right now? Is it our officials or the activists?
Answer my question, Madam Speaker, please.
Answer, what is your question?
My question is whether it is county officials in Meru who keyed in the data on IFMIS.
Governor?
Yes, it is the county officials for our case.
And therefore you will agree with me, if there is any misrepresentation of hospital as hospitality in IFMIS, the person that should take responsibility for that is your own officials, correct or incorrect?
Correct, and that's why we have another process.
I have received my answer,
audit.
Madam Governor. You have said it's correct. You have given an explanation that the reason your officials and relatives receive all these payments is by way of interest. That's why on IFMIS it is captured as prepayment, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you aware an interest is to be surrendered within 7 days?
Prepayment cancel is money requested for activities not done, and after the activities have been done, the accounting person accounts for every coin before receiving any other money.
Again, you're dodging my question.
Repeat
The question is, isn't an interest supposed to be surrendered and accounted for within 7 days?
Surrender of interest are surrendered within specific days.
My question is very easy. By law, should an interest be surrendered within 7 days? It's either yes or no. Should an interest be surrendered and accounted for within 7 days? What's your answer, Madam Governor?
I'm not sure if it's within 7 days.
Fair enough. You will also agree with me, this report covers an entire year, financial year, July to the date, the last date there. Correct or incorrect?
Correct.
And therefore, if payments made in September last year by way of interest still appear as prepayment, the only conclusion that arises is that those interests were never surrendered and accounted for. It is the only accounting conclusion that ensues, Madam Governor. Correct or incorrect?
Incorrect. And the reason is that you cannot receive funds from the Treasury before surrendering everything that you received earlier on.
As a matter of fact, Madam Governor, so that I show you you're a liar, can an officer be given an interest without accompanying hard cash?
Repeat again.
Is an interest given is an interest when an officer takes an interest, aren't they given cash? Isn't that why it is indicated as a prepayment because they have been given cash to expend and later account.
It depends whether the
It is
county
yes
government-
or no, Madam Governor. Can one be given an interest without a cash disbursement to them? Would you call that an interest?
It is a prepayment.
Madam
You are
Governor, I
paid
put it to
later.
you, you can't have it both ways. It is your case that all the reason these items appear as interest on IFMIS is because they were by way of interest. Isn't that your defense, Madam
Council,
Governor?
can you ask clearer? What is it? What question do you want her to answer?
The question, Madam Governor, which I'm putting to you, is that your answer that officers take interest and then later on, when money is disbursed from Treasury, they are paid. That is why they are paid several, they appears.
What is the question? Are you putting it to her or you asking?
I'm putting it to her, Madam Speaker, that your answer cannot hold, which you gave in chief, that the reason your relatives have several payments on the same day is because money is paid after the event and after there has been an accumulation. That cannot be correct because an interest is always supported by hard cash. So it is given on cash basis. So the question of waiting for money does not hold, Madam Governor.
These are prepayments and these are money requested for activities not paid before, and when money arrives to the county government, they are paid. For example, if I'm traveling today from here to a certain destination, we will use our own resources and later surrender the documents for the person concerned to receive the payment.
Let's use your own example, Madam Governor, pose it there. If you travel today on your own money, which will be refunded later, would you be given an interest for spending your own money?
You will be paid for spending
That's
your
not
money.
my question, Madam Governor. You're going on a trip and we all agree it happens every day. On your own money to be refunded later. Are you given an interest on that occasion when you're traveling on your own pocket to claim later?
You will be given interest if there are some goods you are required to buy on cash. And the amount of money that the council we are discussing is the office of the governor, where there are no projects apart from the usage of money by way of travels and other things like purchase of items in the office of the governor. No projects is done in the office of the governor. How else do you expect the office of the governor to work or to receive money if not by this form?
I
Which
did
is-
ask
which
you
is
any
other
question,
formula.
Madam Governor, about projects. We are talking.
Council, can you wrap up on that question, and can you? I think the Senate might be able to appreciate the issue of interests. I request that you move to the next question.
Madam Speaker, my name is Meru, and I have a few questions for the Governor. Madam Governor, we were told by your witness, the CEC for Legal and Public Service Management, that the originals of the surrender documents are with the auditors. Is that your position?
Yes.
And he told us that the originals that are with the auditors are signed. Is that your position?
Yes.
So if the originals are with the auditors and they are signed, where did you get these surrender documents that are not signed?
Council, what happens after you surrender the interest? When you surrender the surrender of the interest, you have a voucher that is in your documents attached to your files, signed, verified, and examined by an examiner. I think those are the documents you have. Are they examined and verified?
No, the documents we have are not examined or signed by the Director of Accounts or by the Chief Officer of Finance. And if your testimony or your evidence is that the originals are signed and they are with the auditors, where did you get these copies that are not signed? Can you have two documents, one which is signed, the original, and another document that is not signed with respect to the same transaction?
Of course, every person have to keep a record of what maybe you might be asked to give and give it out.
So you would agree with me then that the documents you provided here are not a proper record or representation of the documents that are with the auditors?
And that's why we have...
No, it's a yes, no question. Would you agree with me then that the documents that you've provided here, because they are not signed, and the ones that are with the auditors, the originals, are signed, then these documents, obviously, are not a proper representation or copies of the documents you submitted to the auditors?
They are the same documents submitted to the auditors.
Madam Speaker, I think at this point I'll invite the Assembly to make the necessary conclusion. Governor, you can turn with me to page 295 of our volume 2. And my first question, Governor, is whose responsibility is it by law to appoint chief officers? Is it your responsibility to appoint chief officers?
No.
By law, whose responsibility is it to appoint chief officers?
Public Service Board.
Governor, maybe I can clarify there that the position of the law, if you check section 45 of the County Governments Act, is that the governor appoints chief officers on recommendation of the County Public Service Board.
Yes.
The County Public Service Board advertises.
Yes.
They shortlist.
Yes.
They interview.
Yes.
Then they submit names. And in fact, in your case, they submitted 3 names for every department.
Yes.
To the governor for formal appointment.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So who does the actual appointment? The governor.
Yes.
So the document on page 295, now that you agree that it is the governor who formally appoints chief officers as by law, you will then you will agree with me, Governor, that the document at page 295 emanates from your office. It is signed by the County Secretary for Her Excellency the Governor, and it communicates your decision as Governor to appoint certain individuals as chief officers, some in acting capacity, some in substantive positions, correct?
Council, I would like you to...
It's a yes, no question, Governor, so that we move.
There's no.
So you have not appointed these persons?
I've not appointed.
Okay. I'll refer you then to number 1, Naomi Kamunde, that is appearing. Can you read aloud what the document is on number 1?
I want to read from slightly above number 1.
Okay, you can start there then.
Redeployment.
Okay. Redeployment, go ahead. Or maybe assistant can
In
read for you.
order to improve on efficiency and effectiveness in the service delivery, the following changes have been agreed upon.
Okay.
Naomi Kamunde to move from Office of the Governor, Directorate of Protocol, to perform functions of chief officer, office of the governor, awaiting substantive chief officer.
Okay.
Yes.
So, by this letter, Naomi Kamunde is to move from the office of the governor, correct?
Yes.
And perform the functions of chief officer, awaiting a substantive chief officer, correct?
Yes.
And we've agreed that the power to appoint chief officers resides in you as a governor.
Is that appointment?
No, we have agreed that the power to appoint resides in you as a governor, correct?
Yes.
Is it your position that in appointing chief officers in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the county public service board?
In this case...
No, it's a yes/no question, Governor. Is it your position that in appointing chief officers in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the county public service board? Is that your evidence?
Who has signed this document?
It is signed. Answer my question, Madam Speaker. I think at this point I'll seek your protection. May the witness answer the question.
Madam Governor, just answer the question, sir.
It's a yes?
Repeat again.
Is it your evidence that in appointing chief officers, in whatever capacity, whether substantive or acting, the governor need not consult the county public service board? Is that your evidence?
When appointing a new chief officer.
When appointing a new chief officer. So I take it that it is your evidence that when appointing a chief officer in acting capacity, the governor need not consult the county public service board. That is your evidence.
The county secretary also has the powers.
By what? By which law? By which law? Show me the law. I am willing to be persuaded, Madam Governor. Show me the law. What allows the county secretary to appoint chief officers
Not
in
to
whatever
appoint,
capacity?
but to redeploy.
Governor, the question is not on redeployment. The question is on appointment. The question is on appointment. And turn with me to page 335. What document is on page 335?